seated.
Okay. This is the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, and we're looking at the verdict just in the George Floyd case. Derek Chauvin. Verdict just in. Let's listen to it live. Well, it was just live.
All right, for the jury.
All right, show your respects.
All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. All right. Seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hampton County Sheriff. Anything further? All right, thank you. We're adjourned.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. OMG. Should we freeze it there? That's a great freeze frame. Can I do it though? Can I get to the place where I need to? I did it. I freeze framed it. Now I'm going to make it smaller. OMG. OMG. Rafi breathes a sigh. Rafi breathes a sigh of relief. OMG. Wow. I was concerned what the hell was going to happen with this thing. What the hell? How the hell was this shiznix going to go down? But you're seeing it here live with me. Let me see him standing up. Let me see him standing up. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Let me see him standing up. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Standing up with that pigeon chest. I shouldn't laugh at a time like this. But really, for me, I have to be honest. I can't say I'm non-biased in this thing. To me, what I saw was not accidental. What I saw was calculated. I wasn't happy with it. Spoke about it, and all right, for the jury. Spoke about it and got punished by the powers that be. And I'm talking about the same subject, so maybe I will fall to the same fate. Or is it really falling though? Am I falling? If I get the same fate as I did the first time, is it really falling? I don't think it's falling. I think it's just speaking on subjects which I believe matter. Yeah, all lives matter. All lives matter, of course. But it seems as if the American police system don't share my views. And so also the American public have been in the juries. The American juries have proved highly reluctant to levy out appropriate punishment for law enforcement officials who blatantly, flagrantly, and repeatedly abuse people and target certain people for harsher treatment. There's a slew of videos that I could pull up of folks who look more like the police themselves. There's a slew of videos I could pull up, but I won't for copyright issues, although I'm not monetizing this video, so I don't know how that works. Gotta start up a different channel, second channel, and do some experimentation. But the news is, before I bring in the Iron Kong, the news is, and let me get the damn verdicts. Close that. Let me get the verdicts up. Okay. Okay, so former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been found guilty on all charges in the murder of George Floyd. The jury found Mr. Chauvin was guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, guilty of third-degree murder, and guilty of second-degree manslaughter. Guilty on all charges. OMG. At this point, I'm gonna bring in the Iron Kong. Iron Kong, how are you today? How are you with this verdict?
Yeah, Rafi, I'm surprised at
Mhm.
it, to be honest with you. Being a black man over in this side of the world, you're acutely aware of the historical issues that we've had when it comes to violence at the hands of people that look like this gentleman here.
Mhm.
And the fact that justice is either slow or it never comes at all. And we've seen multiple occasions in America, especially, where these type of guys get off from doing the most heinous things.
Yeah.
It would not have surprised me if he had gotten off as visible and as public and as graphic as the
As it was.
situation was with George Floyd. It would not have surprised me.
Mm.
However, I'm glad this animal get this sort of judgment on all charges. I'm sorry there wasn't harsher charges.
Mm.
I guess they couldn't go with murder or whatever because they can't prove it was premeditated or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm glad this animal will see a lot of time behind bars. Hopefully he never come out again.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm happy for the family of George Floyd, even though his you have certain people who are of similar skin hue to Mr. Floyd
Yeah.
and ourselves, who actually took the time to go out their way to denigrate George Floyd, call him a druggie and a this and a that, as if somehow, if in fact he was someone who used drugs, his rights were somehow less important. You understand? And a public lynching, a public execution of black men in America, there's a large enough sample size to know that people like Derek Chauvin and them, they're not going to be the last. We already heard about Dante Wright.
Yeah.
So while this trial was going on, more black men being gunned down.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the video of the army serviceman in his Jeep being roughed up by police.
Yep.
And it's always something having to, anytime these things happen, somehow people find a way to blame the victim. Blame the victim. And that is unfortunate for African people. And if that is Shubhan's plum, that is a shame. That is terrible. But either way, I remember, you see, to wrap up, you see, I want to talk to the people who might be from the Caribbean, who have a way of going to America and they want to act like they're different to the American black. Marcus Garvey teaches us that we are all the same people. You understand me? If you don't understand we're the same people, you remember the youth man who Amber Geiger shot in his apartment?
Yeah. Terrible.
Well, he was from St. Lucia.
Wow.
So when I tell black people from down here, when you go to these countries, don't bother try to act like you're different to the American black or the British black. You're just black. You just have a different accent. You understand me?
Yes. 100%. 100%. Amber Guy. People don't know Amber Guy. That's the police woman who went into her apartment block and mysteriously went on a different floor. Not her floor, but
that's right.
A guy's floor. Different floor. She opened the door. The door was unlocked. She opened the door and she said, "Whoa." When I opened the door, I thought, "How? There must be somebody. There must be somebody in my apartment. Somebody must be trying to rob me. Somebody in my apartment." So she goes into the door, and even though it's got a different number to her door, and even though his furnishings were different to her furnishings, and everything was different, even though her furnishings were different, she still apparently thought it was her apartment. Most normal people would go into a wrong apartment, if they did go into a wrong apartment, and immediately realize that it wasn't their apartment, different furnishings, etc., etc. But Amber Guy, a 10-year vet or whatever vet of the police force, she didn't realize that she didn't realize that she was in the wrong apartment, and she saw what was the name of the fella? I can't remember his name. But
Go ahead, talk. Go ahead, talk.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
remember it. I
She
remember it.
saw the fella sitting on his sofa in his apartment, apparently eating dessert and watching TV. Well, she shot him up, killed him on the spot, and then called in after. She didn't say
Bottom
freeze.
Gene. Bottom Gene. Bottom
Bottom
Gene.
bottom Gene.
Yeah.
And she didn't say freeze. You're under arrest for eating ice cream in your own apartment. Or worst case scenario, if she really thought it was her apartment, you were under arrest for trespassing. Nothing was broken, so it wasn't breaking and entering. You're under arrest for trespassing and eating my ice cream. If she thought it was her apartment, then I guess she could be fair to say that she thought it was her ice cream. And no, she didn't call in. She didn't say freeze. You're under arrest. Get on the floor. Handcuff him. Presumably she was still in a uniform. Handcuff him. Whatever. None of that. Or just freeze there and call in and have the people come and handcuff him. No, none of that. She just killed him on the spot. And then called
Yes,
in,
sir.
and then
That's
killed
right.
him. That's how she did it. And she got 10 years. There can't be a colder case of murder than that, and she only got 10 years. I don't know how early she gets out with parole. So it's a repeated pattern in the US of A. Of course, it happens all over the world, but particularly in the so-called most advanced country in the world. Doesn't seem like advanced behavior to me at all. Doesn't seem seems quite retarded to me, to my humble self. Seems kind of retarded. So, and it's no coincidence when I brought up the video. I didn't play the video. I just let you hear the soundtrack of the case in Florida, where a family brought it up a couple of live shows ago, where a family is being given back. A stretch of land, beachland, prime beachland in Florida. A black family have been given it back after it was stolen from them 100 years ago. So you see, this is how America treats certain people. They will steal from them, take from them, and then a few generations after turn around to them and say, how come you ain't got none? That's because you stole it.
That's right. Them is facts.
OMG. It's because you stole it. And whenever people over there of a African nature, shall we say, made progress, the state would just come, the local government would just come and say, what, you got all this land? Get the out of here. And as a matter of fact, that family that I'm telling you about, they actually banned them from owning property in that state ever again. So it was like punishment for progress. You have the audacity to work hard, save money, and then buy property. How dare you? And so it seems very clear that in America, they have an idea of where the black man should be, and that's under the boot, under the cosh. So if you ask me why I'm so happy for this small victory for African Americans, small victory is some kind of justice. Just a little bit of justice is small victory, and I welcome it. What did I see earlier on? According to certain reports, we don't know the validity of those reports. We don't know the strength of those reports. We don't know the veracity of those reports. But nonetheless, according to some reports, he could be out in 8 to 10 years. And I don't doubt it. And you'd expect me to say, well, be outraged. You'd expect the rapid to be outraged. So how the hell could he be out in 8 to 10 years? Listen, I'm just happy, pleasantly surprised that some form of justice has been meted out to what I consider and what is being acknowledged as a murderer. David Chauvin is a murderer. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy that he's actually going to be punished for his crimes. Unusually, highly unusual, but yes, he will be punished. And let's just have a listen to this again, Iron Kong. Those just joining us.
Please be seated.
Please be seated.
Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror 4-person, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury 4-person, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury 4-person 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yeah.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. All right, be seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
They move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further? All right, thank you. We're adjourned.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I am happy. I am happy. Iron Kong, I'm not going to spend long on this. It's pretty clear cut. It's a clear cut case.
It
It's
ain't
clear.
much to say, Rafi. I
No.
mean, it is what it is. Brand's from us at least here off the street.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is there's a lot of here on the streets, you know. A
Yes.
lot of here on the streets, you know. A lot of
Yeah.
these wicked killer cops on the street.
Mm.
So I want to urge all the black people in America, yo, be an eye guard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all see what happened to Dante, right? These people, let me tell you something. It came out. You remember the terrorist boy, what his name, Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot up the couple people protesting with
Yes.
the AR-15. It come
Yes.
out that actually public officials and police officers was donating to this man legal fees. Came out. They were donating to him. So I want to tell the people, Marcus Garvey said the US government and the KKK is the same thing. The US government came out and said that the police force has been infiltrated by white supremacist groups.
Mm.
I want the black people in America to please continue to be. This is a small victory in a larger battle, a larger war that we
Mm.
have been in for hundreds of years. It has not stopped.
Mm.
Please be an eye of God. Right now they're very upset.
Yeah.
They're annoyed, and these people will attempt to carry out the wicked vengeance on you.
Mm.
That's all I got to say.
OMG. OMG. Yeah, systematic. There's been some systematic work going on. What's the solution to me? What's the solution to me? I think Black Americans, African Americans, they really have to understand that they have to get their kids into certain seats. They have to infiltrate the police forces. They have to infiltrate the legal system. They have to send their kids to law school, scrape up the money, get scholarships, whichever means possible. But Black Americans need to start sending their kids to law school, to the police academy, whatever kind of academy. And speaking on a broader thing, it just occurred to me today. I was thinking earlier on today, I was thinking about back in the day. You know, I remember looking through my window, and there was a march. You know, kids used to go into academies. There was a march, and a couple of houses down from me, he was in the boys' brigade, and you know, they had to dress up smart. You know, they had their uniform, and I remember them marching down the road, marching down the street. It was a public holiday, whatever it was. Yeah, years later, he looked very, very smart, discipline. In the boys' brigade, you gotta do discipline. Years later, I was in the Army Cadets. So I think it was like about 2 or 3 nights, evenings a week. You go to the Army Cadets, you learn to shoot live ammo. You go camping, you go hiking, 10-mile hikes. You felt like we was gonna die. And there was this old guy in front of us, knock-kneed. Must have been in his 60s, but had these tree trunk, knock-kneed legs, and he was at the front marching, old man. And we were staggering, we were dying at the back. We were dying. With our rucksack, sunny day, fully kitted out. We were dying, and he was just marching. The old man with the thick knock-kneed legs. He was just marching like he was fresh. He was as fresh on the 10th mile. He looked to us like he was as fresh on the 10th mile as he was in the first. And I thought, wow, a lot of that shiznix is gone now. School kids go, people probably thinking, well, Rafi, you're on a tangent. Where are you going to tie this in? Trust me, I'll tie it in. School kids now going to school, and there's no uniform requirement. There's no discipline requirement. You don't get the strap no more. What's that? Corporal punishment. But people think, what are you talking about? Getting spanked in school? What do you mean? With the strap on your ass? But I think this general slackness. What happened to the boys' brigade? How many kids are in the scouts? How many kids now, young teenagers now, are in the Army Cadets like I was? How many kids now go to school wearing a uniform? Where is the discipline? Ill discipline, mental ill discipline, anything goes. And I think this anything goes mentality was deep in the mind of Chauvin. He wasn't brought up with no discipline. He wasn't brought up with no morals. And I put it to you that back in the day, discipline, a sense of morality, a sense of right from wrong was more prevalent, perhaps more prevalent than it is now. Ill discipline, mental ill discipline. I can do anything I want and get away with it. That kind of entitled mentality. The things that we were involved with when I was a youth. Get it wrong, there's some kind of punishment. Some kind of punishment. There's a crime, there's a punishment. How the hell do you think you're gonna commit a crime and escape any form of punishment?
Rafi,
Hong Kong.
I'm just on Twitter just now, and they actually released a unreleased police report of the George Floyd situation. You know what the headline was going to be on that official police report? Man dies after medical incident during police interaction.
Yeah.
They never got to release it because people taped the situation, but it's actually on a few people's Twitter, like Jake Tapper, all these CNN people, that they actually have this report that the man was going to release to say that's how George Floyd died if people didn't tape it.
It's crazy. It is crazy. And we have an American in the building. H-Mo-9. Come on in.
What's good, Rafi? How you doing, my brother? Shout out to what's good? How y'all feeling?
It's a good day. It's a good day, H-Mo-9.
Absolutely. Finally, we get justice for George Floyd. It's unfortunate what happened to George Floyd when he was killed on camera by a police officer. This type of stuff happens all the time here in America, Rafi. Like, just going to the grocery store or going to get some gas at a gas station. It's sometimes it's hard just to do that when you got these police around here trying to kill people, and police, trying to pull you over for no reason, plant drugs on you. And it's very difficult, man. And police brutality been going on forever here in America. I'm pretty sure you might deal with the same thing in the UK. It's a problem that happens worldwide. I know some of the brothers that play football, soccer in the UK, they deal with all type of racism. Players like Henry, he dealt with so much racism playing in the Premier Leagues and things of that nature. It's racism, like Anthony Joshua said, is a disease. It's a disease. It's a virus that we've been dealing with. We've been living with for so long, man. And it's good to see that, George Floyd got some justice. And I see that the police officer was found guilty on all 3 counts. I believe it was a 2nd-degree murder. I felt like it should have been 1st degree.
Third degree.
Oh, third.
Sorry. Guilty of 2nd degree unintentional murder, guilty of 3rd degree murder, guilty of 2nd degree manslaughter.
At least we got some justice, Rafi, because so many times where cops, they were able to get away with killing innocent civilians for no reason, man. And it's sad that we are in 2021 and we're still dealing with this same bullshit, bro. Part of my language, this same BS that's going on in the world, man. And we need justice for Breonna Taylor as well, who was killed at her home by a police officer. Also, people like Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed by a white man, an ex-police officer, and his son, and all he was doing was jogging. And it's sad. We still dealing with this every day. I seen a lieutenant that worked for the military. He was just in his car, and the police pulled him over for no reason and pepper sprayed him. And you see that? And he had his uniform on. It's sad.
They don't give a rat's ass what kind of uniform you're wearing. The brownies, the scouts, the Boy Scouts. I don't give a. They shot you up in the Boy Scouts uniform. No worries. It's really rough. It's really rough. I mean, this goes out worldwide. I don't know if these cops realize that we're watching. We're watching worldwide. We're watching. It's got to change. It really has got to change. You Black Americans, you're really gonna have to start sending your children to law school. H-Mo-9.
with you, Rafi. I agree with you, and I appreciate you talking about this, and just keeping the word alive. And it's bigger than boxing. At the end of the day, we love boxing, but we deal with everyday struggles, And I appreciate Raphael Dawkins. Shout out to Aaron Kong, everybody in the chat, Steven, Philip, all my people in the chat. Hopefully I don't forget any of my people. The Bronze Plumber, also. I believe we got my boy Big Boys Boxing. Appreciate you guys, man. And I just wanted to tap in, Rafi. I guess I'll talk about boxing on the next show because Reggie Owens. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Reggie Owens. He has a boxing channel. He seen Tyson Fury in Vegas yesterday in the mall. He saw Sugar Hill, and Tyson Fury was with Sugar Hill, and they were shopping. And Tyson Fury did an interview with one of their brothers. So, man, I appreciate Tyson Fury, man, taking his time out to do an interview with the people, man.
Yeah, well, that's nice of him. That's nice of him. But we're staying away from boxing today.
Yes, sir, Rafi. Thank you for having me, Rafi. I just wanted to salute you. Thank you, brother.
100%. That was the H Monet. Thank you for hopping on. Much appreciated. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and share this shiznix. What's this here? Why not do a massive recruitment drive for police to make them more representative of the local people? Defunding is most stupid logic ever. I don't know. I can't talk about the defunding. There's lots of particulars within the defunding that I'm not aware of, and I'm sure you're not aware of. So maybe I'll do a show about what is defunding the police, and we'll look at the particulars. Because I'm not particular with the particulars or familiar with the particulars. So I really can't speak on it. For the first part of it, why not do a massive recruitment drive for the police to make them more representative of the local people? 100%. 100% agree with that. Iron Kong, do you have any final words, my friend? I know you've already said your piece, but is there anything else you want to say before I shut this shiznix down? Before you say that, let me just say to everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. The Iron Kong, your final words, my friend.
No final words, Rafi. I'm glad that wicked man get locked up. In terms of Brandon Plummer talking about better training and all that, let me tell you something. The system is rotten. The system is run by wicked people, wicked euros, and it don't matter how much you recruit from the local population. The system is the issue, right? I don't want to talk about the defunding issue, but the problem is if you keep pumping more money into that instead of pumping more money into the communities, these cops don't use that for training. The cops them know exactly what they're doing. This ain't stuff that need to be trained out. These are just wicked, racist people, and you can't train out wickedness. All right, Rafi, you hold it down in a piece.
Respect, Iron Kong. Much appreciation. Kids are there now. It's time for the kiddies. Time for the kiddies. Time. Much appreciation. Much appreciation for the Iron Kong. Coming on and the H Monet, so we could actually have a dialogue. What's going on here? Ironically, the 4 police charged with multiple races. That is indeed correct. You had a Chinaman, Chinese Oriental looking guy. You had 2 European looking guys. Oh, how many were there? 3 or 4. There was 3 on his back and 1 standing up. Yeah, there was a Chinese looking man. Random accusations of wickedness. I don't know if it's so random. Chauvin had a long rep sheet. And there were lots of people who come forward to testify about his issues with the black race. I was going to say other races, but people were saying it was the black people Africanized. Yeah, so random accusations of wickedness. No, I think it's a long rap sheet. So I really don't think that's random. I think that's multiple ample statements from multiple sources about Derek Chauvin's position on certain things. So I don't think it's really random. And talking about random accusations. No, I know that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the accusation. What I'm saying, it's not a random accusation. It's very specific. It's applicable to George Floyd and his rep sheet for his behavior towards African Americans. It's not random. It's not random. It's documented. Yeah. There was a Chinaman. I think was there somebody of Mexican name with a Mexican name and 2 European names? Yeah, it was a mix. It was a mixed bag of nuts, indeed. We got going through these comments. Okay, let's have a look. Defunding is dumb. Crime will go through the roof. Well, there's particulars with the defunding. I don't think it means that the police don't get any money. So that's why I don't talk about defunding, because I've read a few bits and pieces on it, and there's a lot that I don't know about the defunding, and there's a lot that we don't know about the defunding. And I don't think the defunding means that they don't get any money. There's a tranche of money which goes to them, which is being suggested should go to enhancing the local community. That's a tranche, not the whole police budget, but a tranche, a slice of the police budget. So I think that's what defunding means. It don't mean what a lot of people think it means. I'm not really going to talk about it because I would have to do a particular show, get the particulars up, and we could go through the particulars. Why not a massive recruitment drive for people to make the police, to make them more representative of the local people? 100%. I agree with that 100%. What's going on? And first degree is when you plan the crime, it's premeditation. Yeah, it's premeditation. Indeed. 1 million cops in the U.S. Law of averages says there must be hundreds. I agree with that. I think it's probably more like thousands, because if one person does an act and a cop's next to him doesn't report it, an illegal act, then he becomes contaminated also. Boom. At least he's off the streets for now, however long. I can't see his time in jail being easy. I agree with that. Big boys boxing in the building. Sentences are not as harsh as America in the UK. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But generally now, what's happening now is that with these gang-related violence, these gang-related shootings and stabbings, what's happening now is that they're getting some long sentences. If you kill somebody, you murder somebody, and it's gang-related, then you're looking at a 28 years to 35 stretch. 28 years to 35 stretch. There was a couple of teenagers who killed another teenager who was into the, what's that music? Drill, into the drill music, rapping about, certain unsavory aspects of society, like the crime, rejoicing in crime. Some of it rejoices in crime. There's a lot of it rejoicing in crime. Yeah, maybe. And two of those guys killed another guy. And they've recently been sentenced, I think, was it 28 years? 28 years or 35? 28 or 35. There's another that was down in London. There was another incident up here in Birmingham, England, where there was a stabbing apparently, and there was retaliation shooting the day after, and killed a guy, killed a youth up in Birmingham here. And their sentence, not just a sentence for the shooters, the shooters or the shooter got 35. Another guy got 35, an organizer, and even the driver and another associate. They got 25 years apiece. That's 25 to be served. So the gang-related sentences killing sentences, they are moving up, and I think rightly so, in order to act as some form of deterrent. What's going on? What's going on? I don't think nobody's saying they don't want police. I don't think no one's saying that they don't want police. The Gestapo. What's this here? So basically, better have the Gestapo than not. The police in America is a wicked racist system. Training won't help. The very U.S. government said white hate groups have infiltrated the police force. I think it'd be hard to say, there's not ample evidence of wickedness perpetrated by the police force, and that's very unfortunate. Needs to be rooted out somehow. We need some root killer, weed killer. We got to find the weed killer to root out the negative elements in the police force. But you know how the American police force started? There were slave catchers. That's one of their major roles, slave catchers. And one has to wonder, do they still harken back? Is there a part of their mentality that still harkens back to their original slave catcher role? I'm not saying that's the only reason they came into being, but that's one of them. That was one of their major roles, slave catching, brutalizing. Yes. Nothing random about my accusations. I have a large enough sample size. Boom, boom, boom. But the beautiful thing, the beautiful thing is that we can come together and we can discuss things. We can discuss things of people of all different nations, of all different complexions, right here under the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio roof. And in comes the return of the Iron Kong.
Yeah, Rafi. Just to add on the point you made just about the origins of the police force being a slave catcher force. As facts. You see, a lot of these, even down in the Caribbean, the defense force here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Rafi, you know how it started?
Oh.
The defense force here was started because there was an uprising on a plantation because the people were so poor. The plantation masters them refused to pay them a little bit more money because this was after emancipation, and there was an uprising. What ended up happening was that they couldn't get it under control, and then they had to go and say, you know what, this can't happen again, and we have to start a local militia to protect the plantation and the white people. And from that came our defense force. A lot of these things here, a lot of these forces started from to protect white Europeans.
Yeah.
You understand me? That's what it was started from.
Yeah.
So when Franz Plummer is telling me random accusations, sorry, sir. I have enough sample size, enough historical sample size.
Yeah.
I could see, where this thing come from. You understand? So when it don't affect you and your people, you could try and come up with all sort of theorem and all this.
Yeah.
People like me and Rafi, every day we in danger of something.
That's true.
You understand me? We have the sample size. We have all the historical evidence. We have all the evolution of these slave catchers and these local militias to protect white plantation owners. And you might start to feel funny. Because we're talking about this, but this is a fact.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So I would encourage you, try and listen a little bit and stop trying to throw out all these weird stuff.
LeBron's Plum was saying that he offers possible solutions. He says you should offer some possible solutions.
What did I say? I said you gotta root out them wicked people out there of the police force. You have to change the system, but you can't because the system is rotten from the top. The system is rotten from the top.
It's rotten from the top. It's rotten from the top. But surely infiltration. Getting different ethnic groups involved in the police and all levels of the legal system. Surely that will go some way to slowly alter the balance. Surely you got to shift the balance, outnumber them.
Yeah. So I mean, he could sit here and give me all his lot of talks he want.
Yeah.
This is a hundred-year-old situation that we're in right now. I just tell you, while the Derek Chauvin, or whatever his name is, Chauvin case going on, they shot down Dante, right? They kill another Mexican kid in Chicago, and then they tried to say he was armed. When the body cam showed, the youth man had nothing in his hands. A 13-year-old boy had nothing in his hands. His hands were up, and they shot him.
Right.
So all these things you're talking about, it sounds nice, bro. It sounds nice.
Yeah.
It ain't easy like that. The system does not want to change.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what I said was yes, Con. Well, what I said was Stephen. What I said was Marla was that one of the reasons they came into being was to protect European assets. That's one of the reasons. That's what was one of the roles. That was one of the major roles of the U.S. police force, was to protect European assets. So we're talking about the plantations, the owners. Yeah, that's one of the reasons they were set up, or one of their major roles. So let me make my definitive statement. One of the major roles of the early USA police force was to protect European assets, and it was protection. The protection force was run by European, executed by Europeans on behalf of Europeans. That's what I'm saying. So to be clear, and to be perfectly clear, so there's no misinterpretation, what I'm saying is that one of the major roles of the fledgling USA police force was to protect European assets. I don't think I could be any clearer than that. And why am I saying that? Well, I'm saying that because it's a trickle down. It's the trickle down effect. There's still an element within that force, from the top and the bottom, that perhaps harkens back to the where a large part of their original role. And for sure, that definitely needs to be stamped out. Black Americans need to be sending their kids to law school, sending their kids to academies. And as a matter of fact, kids all over the world, or parents all over the world, they really need to be, like I said before, I was in the Army Cadets, another kid who'd be in the Boys Brigade, another kid in the whatever, the Air Academy for the Air Force. That was how I was raised. I went to school in the school uniform, clean shirt, clean uniform, tie. And then after that, you come home from school and you play football outside or whatever. If it's not an Army Cadet day, if it's an Army Cadet day, you eat your food, and then you put on your uniform, another uniform, and then you go to the Army Cadets Academy, and then you do your marching, your regimentation, your war strategies, your shooting on the range, and then a few weekends, and then 1 weekend per month or every other month we go camping. We go hiking, and I think that that discipline is neat. That discipline. I wonder if it's gone. I wonder if a large part of that discipline is gone with people, with their mentalities. I think all of these things play a role in people's, in the young adult, in the developing mind. And I think that without that, with that discipline, we maybe we can alleviate some things. Maybe we can alleviate some mad mentalities, like the mentality of Derek Chauvin. Maybe. I don't know. It's a loose connection. I don't know. I might be right. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. Stephen Marla, Dante Wright had a warrant for first-degree aggravated robbery. That's why he fled. The media aren't telling the whole story. Dante Wright. Is Dante Wright the new kid? The latest kid, Dante Wright is fled. He didn't flee anyway.
Rafi.
Yeah.
So Rafi, the police officer said that she was reaching for her taser and accidentally pulled her pistol and shot him. You see, people like Stephen, why just tell you, every time these things happen, you're gonna have somebody come and say, "Oh, it's the victim's fault. It's his fault." So basically, you had a cop. Another cop came on social media and was like, "This is how we carry a taser and a gun. The taser is put on your hip, on your left side of your hip, right, and it's placed in a position where you could grab it easy. The gun is placed on your hip in the reverse position." So you can't grab it so easy. So that's in a passive position. The taser is in an aggressive position where you could get it easy. The cop said it's impossible for you to grab your pistol. Also, because the pistol is much heavier than a taser.
Right.
Also, the taser is yellow.
Yes.
Right? So it's impossible for you to grab the pistol and shoot the pistol and say, "Oh, I thought I was using my taser." You see? You see, Rafi?
It's mad. It's mad.
You
It's
see,
mad.
Rafi?
But let me ask Marla though. Marla, why are you blaming the murder victim and not the murderer?
Always.
Why are you blaming the murder victim and not the murderer? Just now I was watching a video. Where is it? Let me pull it up. I mean, I ain't making this shizzle up. I mean, it popped up in my notifications. I clicked, oh, maybe I just saw it. Let me bring it up. Let me go into my history. Let me go into history. Where is it?
Rafi, before I leave, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before I leave, I just want to say this is the kind of responses you get from people whenever you talk about the situation. He's talking about, oh, the media is what? No, the media ain't blowing up nothing. This lady shot this man talking about, oh, I thought I was reaching for my taser. I don't care. I don't care what you're saying, Stephen, or whoever that is. You are blaming the victim. You are victim blaming. You're doing exactly what these plantation owners did when they used to accuse runaway slaves of stealing themselves, hence stealing plantation property and must be punished. That was a law. You understand me?
Yeah.
Here he is again with Adam Toledo, the kid who was shot in Chicago, 13 years old. And what does Stephen say? The 13-year-old was out at 2:30 in the morning carrying a gun. You understand me? And he fired the gun on his hand. Mind you, Rafi, he was saying seconds. The video shows, Rafi, he had no gun. So whether you claim he fired a gun or not, his hands were up. His hands were up at the time. He didn't point a gun at the cops. His hands were up, and the cops shot him anyway. You understand me? This is why people like Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot down so much people in that protest with the AR-15, all of a sudden Kyle Rittenhouse getting, pats on the back. The police even gave him water. And you know what they would say? Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse was just protecting his neighborhood. But he wasn't even from the neighborhood. What he was doing out, all in late hours. Nobody questioned that. What was he doing out? With an AR-15 strapped to his chest. What was he doing out? Shot and killed 3 people, but he alive still. And you have public officials, police officers donating to his legal fund. So these people in the chat who talking when you're doing the exact same thing that I expected you to do. And this is why I said, Rafi, the situation can't change because of people like this. These is wicked people. I hope, Rafi. Peace.
Okay. Iron Kong. Much appreciation. Iron Kong. Very passionate speaking from the heart. Marla replies, Dante Wright was a criminal attempting to flee, and his actions played a role in Dante Wright, the engine was off. I saw the video. The engine was off. He's a criminal. It doesn't make no difference whether he was a criminal or not a criminal. He wasn't going to get anywhere. The police had a firm hold on him. Towards 2 police. 2 police had a firm hold on him. He didn't even need to get tased. In fact, tasing him would have been problematic. They already had a hold on him. He was already secured. He wasn't going anywhere. She pulled a gun out and killed him dead, the police officer. And then she said that, she thought it was a tase, when it's impossible that it would have been a tase. Different color, different weight, different positioning on the holster. It was clearly a load of crapola that woman, police officer, policewoman said. She thought it was her tase. I've seen the video. There wasn't any need for tasing, much less a gun. He was already grabbed by 2 police officers. The engine was off. He couldn't get anywhere. And as a matter of fact, it's better that he drive off alive than he get killed. Anybody suggesting that it was justifiable that he got killed, I'm sorry, I can't go for that. Can't go for that. Only the police are responsible for individuals, and their parents carry no responsibility. Well, once again, I mean, you know, the responsibility for Dante Wright's killing lies with the police officer who pulled out the gun and shot him. He could have been even if he was a criminal. And let's say he did somehow manage to drive off, then better that than him get killed. Better he drive off than he get killed. But he wasn't going to drive off because he was already secured. There was no need for a taser, much less a gun. That was cold-blooded murder. DV Douglas says, I don't feel sorry for George Floyd. Why don't you feel sorry for George Floyd, DV Douglas? He just got murdered. So you need to check yourself, my friend. You know, you need to check yourself. What's going on here? Iron Kong says, victim blaming, you should be ashamed. Marla responds with, Iron Kong not taking any responsibility for your actions. Shame on you. OMG. He was in the driver's seat trying to get away. You are seeing what you want, Rafi. Keep it real. Well, Dante, what's his name? Let me pull up the video. Thomas McGregor, DV, I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I feel sorry for DV McGregor too. I feel sorry for DV Douglas's parent. Yeah, there's something wrong with DV Douglas. There's something wrong. Slip then trying to cuff him. What was this? To be fair, that dude was not being held by 2 cops. He slipped on trying to cuff him and jumped back into the car to do. She was shouting, taser, taser. Yeah, if you don't know a taser from a gun, you definitely have messed up. OMG. He had a warrant, so his life must be forfeited. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I'm seeing it. He had a warrant, so kill him anyway. Kill him. He got killed, so what? That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. He was secured. Rafi, come on. I said that he slipped back into the car. The engine was turned off. He had two officers on him. Let's pull up the video. Let's pull up the video. Let's pull up the video. No more talking. Let's pull it up. Pull it up, Rafi. Pull it up. Hold on a second. Oh, well, firstly, before I go to that, I've already got this one lined up. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one. This isn't the police. This is a shopkeeper. But let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this before I go to the other one. Somebody write the guy's name in there. Dante Wright. Is it Dante Wright? Is it Dante Wright? Somebody write the name of the guy that I'm going to be looking for in a second. But first of all, let's have a look at this. Saga needs to be careful. The referee needs to be careful. We're going to go to that one in a second. I had this one lined up. So let's have a look at this one. Okay, let me slow this down, hopefully. Oh my gosh. OMG. Normal. Playback normal. No, let's slow it down. Half speed, shall we? Let's go half speed, shall we? Boom. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's a shoplifting situation. I'm going to freeze it there. So the shoplifter is exiting the shop. This is the shopkeeper with his Walter PPK pointed at the guy's back. Okay, so let's carry on with this just a little bit more. So the guy is exiting the shop. Let's go a little bit more. He's trying to flee, trying to get out of there. Shopkeeper's got him by his arm. Okay, and that's the point which I'm not going to play. Yeah, Waffy's got a little bit wiser. That's the point where the shopkeeper ends the shoplifter's life. And they played the video around town and said, is that justifiable? Is that justifiable? And even the people, this of course is in America, even the American people said, well, hold on a second. He wasn't posing no threat. He was leaving. No, that's not justifiable. That's murder. That's murder. I'm sure some of you may disagree in the chat. Feel free to do so. Write your comments down below. Is this murder or is this justifiable? Is this justifiable murder? That's the question. Get your answers down there in the chat. Rafi, you clearly stated that he was secured, and that was not accurate. I think I said he was secured by 2 police officers and slipped back in the car, but he's still secured. They still had control of him. They were going to just yank him out, but he didn't get a chance because she shot him, killed him. But let's have a look. That's my opinion on the matter, but let's have a look at the video itself. Let's have a look if anyone wrote in Dante, right? No. People getting relaxed. Okay, I'm thinking that it's Dante, right? Yeah, get your question, get your answers in. Was that murder? This is the guy with the gun, the shop owner, and this is the guy trying to flee, leaving the store, going away. And this guy killed him. Was that murder or justifiable homicide? Write your opinions down in the chat. It seems like we got some bloodthirsty people up in here. So let's drop that down and let's let me criminal mind. Yeah, listen, there's different degrees of criminal. You know what I'm saying? If you got a parking ticket, you're a criminal. So you can't be acting like if someone's got a criminal record, they're some kind of murderer. You know what I'm saying? If you get a parking ticket, you ain't no murderer. What else is there? What is this? When you point out someone's criminal mind, if you get a parking ticket, you got a criminal mind? I don't know about that. Can't agree with you on that one, my friend. No way, no how. And the fact that resisting arrest played a role in the outcome. He was resisting arrest, yes. Isn't victim blaming? Well, yeah, I mean, if you say that somebody who pulled out a gun and said they thought it was a taser, when that's virtually impossible, you're going to know the different weights. And when you overlook their crime, which is murder, and say that somebody who picked up maybe got a parking ticket is a criminal, so they deserved it by implication, yeah, I think that's victim blaming. But that's just me. But let me pull up this Dante Wright video. Let me drop that down and let me look for this. What is it? I don't even know how I spell that. Dante Wright. Okay. Lucky guess. So where is the actual video? Oh, is this it? Yeah, I think it is. Hold on. Let me just. Holy guacamole. As a matter of fact, rat-a-tat-tat. Let me, hold on. Let's get the Dante Wright video up. Where are we? Muddy cam shows deadly. Okay. Can you see what I can see? Yeah, you can see. Do you see what I can see? And then comes man like the Fight Doctor. Fight Doctor, introduce yourself.
Fight Doctor's in the house on Rick James status as always. What's going on, Rafi?
Yes. Okay, we got the Fight Doctor. I'm good, my friend. I'm good. It's a happy day for me. I didn't know if this guy would get any time. The Chauvin cat would get any time. But he did. It's not the fullest. He didn't get punished by the fullest extent of the law as I would have liked. But still, he got found guilty on all 3 charges.
So I want to just, if I may, address some of the comments in the comment section.
Go ahead.
So I want to first address those comments by saying, setting the record straight, right?
Mm.
Now, in the New World, okay?
Mm.
So the Americas, the Caribbean, the New World,
Yeah.
you have 3 categories of people.
Uh-oh.
You have indigenous peoples, the people who were already here.
Mm.
You have settlers, people who are not indigenous, but whose families left their indigenous lands or other lands and came here.
Mm.
And then you have the category to which the African diaspora in the New World belong to, because we're not the indigenous people, and we're not settlers either, because settlers came here of their own free will.
Mm-hmm.
They picked up, they pulled up stakes and they migrated here to the New World. We did not migrate here.
Mm.
We were kidnapped and brought here as part of a criminal organization.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what happened to us. So like immigrants, when they came here, they brought their culture, they brought their language, they brought their religion, they brought their way of life. When the Italians, when they got off the boat, they did not stop being Italian. When the Irish, when they came here, they did not stop being Irish.
Yeah.
When the Chinese, when they came here, even though they came here under less than ideal circumstances, or when they got here, they were treated less than ideal, as were other immigrant groups, but they retained their identity, who they were, their family histories.
Yes.
They know exactly, even now, people who are the descendants of immigrants who came here 200-300 years ago, they can still trace their family tree all the way back to the mother country.
Yes.
Now, all of that was denied us. And of all the quote unquote immigrant groups who are here, and we're not immigrants, but we've been here, the people of the African diaspora, because we're not immigrants. The people of the African diaspora, we have been here as long or longer than any other group of people besides the indigenous people. And above and beyond that, we have worked harder than any other group of people, including the indigenous people. We have fought. Now, I'm speaking of African Americans.
I don't mean to be rude, but what's your point, though?
So my point is, when people make these disparaging remarks about people who have been victims of police brutality, oh, well, he had a criminal record. Well, you need to understand that the people of the African diaspora have suffered the most egregious crime in human history. And that's not an exaggeration. And even to this day, look, when we got here, we were treated like less than human. And that treatment persists even until today. And it's really amazing when you consider the fact that if it were not for the hard work and the sacrifice of the African in the New World, there would be no New World, period.
Okay. I think I can make a better argument than you're making. And here goes. Okay, so if I were you, what I would be saying is that a criminal record doesn't mean that you should be receiving a lesser standard of you should expect less from the police. You could have a criminal record. You got 1 crime on your record, fine. You could have 10 crimes on your record. It doesn't mean that you should be expecting a lesser standard from the police. So he had a criminal record. He was outstanding. He wasn't I don't know. Aggravated. What was the particulars of the thing? What does aggravated burglary mean? What is it? What was the term? What was the term used? Let me look for the term and let's address it. When you point out, hold on. What was his charge? What was his charge? Let's have a look. Had a warrant for first degree. Dante Wright had a warrant for first degree aggravated robbery. Had a warrant. Does that mean he was guilty? So Marla, Stephen, the first question I have for you, because he had a warrant out for aggravated robbery, does that mean that he was guilty? So that's a very important question. He had a warrant out for first degree aggravated robbery. Does that mean he had been found guilty in a court of law? Does that mean he was found guilty in a court of law? I don't know, but let me look at the definition for, first degree aggravated robbery. That's down on the screen. We're going to get into it, but first I just want to have a look at this. First degree aggravated, robbery? Yeah. Robbery. First degree aggravated robbery. Okay, let's have a look at that. I know it means different things from state to state. Aggravated first degree. What state did this happen in? This Dante murder. The Dante Wright murder. What state did that happen in? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't recall exactly which state it happened in, but
well, let me look anyway. When does first degree aggravated robbery, first degree aggravated robbery, aggravated simple. What is first, second, and third degree robbery? It's aggravated. How does aggravated robbery? Okay, well, let's look at how does aggravated robbery differ from robbery first of all. Let me share this with you. Let's have a look. Okay. So let's stop sharing that just for a second. We're going to come back to the video in a second, but let's look at how does aggravated. Yeah, let's look at that one. How does what is aggravated robbery? It's in Texas, damn it. Anyway, let's just go with this. I don't know what state he lives in. Let's see if anybody's looked it up. Nope. Hold on, let me check YouTube. See if anybody's brought it up. Okay. Right. So aggravated robbery sometimes. Can you see that? Okay, let me get it bigger. Okay, so aggravated robbery is sometimes called armed robbery. Armed. That's not good. All right, sometimes called armed robbery. If you are charged with aggravated robbery, you are likely to face a serious penalty because aggravated robbery involves not only a theft, but also injuries to the victim or another factor that makes the charge more serious. To convict a defendant of robbery in Texas, prosecutors must prove beyond all reasonable doubt that while committing theft against a victim, the defendant knowingly or recklessly caused injury. Okay. Alternatively, the prosecution can prove that the defendant intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly caused a threat to the victim who feared death or bodily injury. These distinctions can be complicated, however. It's important for defendants to know what they are charged with and the potential ramifications. These distinctions can be complicated. So I may have a gun. Aggravated robbery, sometimes called armed robbery. If you are charged with aggravated robbery, you are likely to face a serious penalty because aggravated robbery involves not only a theft, but also injuries to the victim or another factor that makes the charges more serious. Okay. Was that up there the whole time? Damn it. What's this? What it means, Rafi, is you stand there and let police arrest you. Okay, so that's aggravated. So that's one element. So let's come out to that. What was you looking at? First degree. Okay. What's first, second? Okay. So let's look at that now. Okay. Are you seeing what I'm? Oh, there. Manage
So I have a question.
Carry on.
Since this one particular poster is so curious about Mr. Wright's warrant, did Emmett Till, did he have a warrant for aggravated battery? Or I'm sorry, aggravated robbery?
That's a good question. But the counteracting, they're going to say that was years ago. They're going to say that was years ago. But I hear you. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, the difference between first, second, and third degree robbery depends on the level of threat and violence. Third degree robbery occurs when a criminal uses force or a weapon to take someone else's property. A person is guilty of second degree robbery if they commit the act with an accomplice and or cause minor injury to a victim with a deadly weapon while committing the robbery. First degree robbery occurs when a perpetrator is armed with a deadly weapon and the victim is seriously injured. OMG. Well, if he did that, if he seriously injured somebody, then that was bad. That was naughty, and he should be jailed for that. Should he be killed for that? I think not. By an incompetent police officer? I think not. And what if he's killed by an incompetent police officer? Well, that's murder then, or manslaughter. Murder or manslaughter. Take your pick. Okay, so I think we've done that. Yeah. And is he guilty of that charge, or is he suspected of that charge? Okay. And let's line up the video. Where is the video? Where is there it is. There it is. Too many windows open right about now. Okay, so there is the video. Let me start sharing that again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and before I do that, before we go through the Dante Wright video, let's have a looky. Oh, for those people who just joined us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. And let me remind you, before we see that video, let me remind you of why we are here. Is that it? Or what is that? Is that the one that I'm looking for? Oh no. No, hell no. Stop that. Let's try and find the right one just to remind the people who have just come into the chat. Let me see if I can find the right thing. Let's see if I can find the right thing. No, that's not it. Is that it? Damn, I think I've closed it. I think I've closed it down. Have I closed it down? No, I haven't closed it down. Okay. But anyway, here are the charges that the fella there, Chauvin, was found guilty of. Okay, so second degree murder, guilty. Third degree murder, guilty. Second degree manslaughter, guilty. Okay, that's just a quick reminder of why we're here. And so let's get back into the video.
He should have called murder in the first.
Yeah. Well, that's difficult to prove because you'd have to be premeditated. So that'd have been difficult to prove. That's why.
Yeah, no, he had enough time to think about what the hell he was doing. Okay, listen, premeditated doesn't mean that you thought about it on Tuesday and then you executed on Wednesday. No, you can premeditate murder in the minutes that he had his knee on George Floyd's neck.
Good point.
He should have called murder in the first.
That's a good point. He had plenty of time. It was premeditated anyway. Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's have a look. That's a very good point. Yeah. You can think of it. He had ample time, so all that time he was on his back. Yeah. That's a good point. Point.
I mean, you have people. You have the EMTs who are there talking about something. They can't find a pulse. You even have his fellow officers like, look, dude, you need to come up off of your man.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. So apparently, he knew. Yeah, he was intent on killing George Floyd. Okay, so that's premeditation. That's what he should have called murder in the first. No question.
Yes, he was premeditated. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Okay. Kong, I'm not pointing out, I'm pointing out his criminal mind and his attempt to flee played a role in the outcome. The officer still screwed up. If you call murdering someone screwing up, I agree with you. That's definitely a screw up and has been charged. I don't know what she's been charged with. But my question is, was he found guilty in a court of law was he found guilty of first degree aggravated robbery, or was that just a charge? Was that charge?
Yeah, when you are a black man in America, you are guilty.
No, hold on a second. I'm asking the question. Had he been charged? Had he been found guilty in a court of law, or is that merely a charge? Because the charge and being found guilty are two different things.
Yeah, but in this country, the way it works, they charge you with a crime and you're guilty. At least if you're black, you're guilty. That's how that works. All right, look, that's been how it works in this country for 500 years. So I don't understand.
I'm just trying to find out if he'd been found guilty of the charge. Being charged with something and being found guilty of something is two different things. So if he was charged of it, but he was not found guilty of it, then I don't know if you can be saying the guy had a criminal mind. If he's found guilty of it, then you can say he's got a criminal mind. But Marley, you've been saying the guy's got a criminal mind based on a charge. You can't do that. You can say you can say he had a criminal mind if he'd been found guilty, but was he be found guilty or was he just charged? That's these comments underscore what I'm saying. He's black. He's been charged with a crime. So in the mindset of the dominant culture, of course he's guilty. That's just the way it works here. But Marlon's in New Zealand. He ain't in America. So I'm wondering what's going on. Was he found guilty? If he was guilty, then you can say he had a criminal mind. If he was not found guilty, then you can't say he had a criminal mind. But you've been saying throughout the thread that the dude had a criminal mind. And for you to say that,
New Zealand qualifies.
With that legitimacy, he will have to have been found guilty. So my question is, was he found guilty or merely was he charged? Which is it? Was he found guilty?
If he had a warrant, then he wasn't found guilty. He had a court date. But
That's what I'm saying. So he wasn't found guilty. So how can you say the man got a criminal mind when he hadn't been found guilty of the crime that he was alleged to have committed?
Well, that's the way Western civilization works.
So I don't know. I'm asking the question, Marla. Was he found guilty of it? And if he wasn't found guilty of it, which I don't think he wasn't, because he hadn't gone to court, he hadn't been found guilty in a court of law. So why are you saying the guy's got a criminal mind, Marla? Why are you saying the guy's got a criminal mind when he hadn't been found guilty of a charge?
Because he's thinking with a Western civilized mind, okay? And that is the way the Western civilized mind works. When you are black and charged with a crime, you are guilty, period. That's the way it works within Western civilization.
No one is saying Dante Wright deserved to die. The cold hard reality is he led a criminal life. Well, that's what I'm confused about. Because he got charged for a crime, that means he led a criminal life? Really? Is that how it works? No, I don't think
that's exactly how it works.
I don't think that's how it works, Marlon. If you get a warrant put on you for a crime, it doesn't make you a criminal, my friend. You have to be found guilty of that crime. So I don't know why you're persistently saying the guy was a criminal with a criminal mind when he hadn't been found guilty of a crime, as far as I'm aware. Hold on a sec. Let's have a look. Hong Kong, he was charged with the aggravated robbery, and there's a video of him with handguns. It's obvious he was not walking the... Hold on a second. He was charged, not found guilty. You put the horse before the cart, Marla. You put the horse before the cart. Just because a man's charged doesn't mean he's a criminal. Good Lord, man. Good Lord. So that part's wrong. He was charged, aggravated murder. There's a video. He was charged. Yeah, he's charged, not found guilty. He was charged, not found guilty. Okay. We know how many miscarriages of justice there are all around the world, but particular in America. And there is a video of him with handguns. Hold on a second. Handguns are legal in the US of A. Handguns are legal in the US of A. It is not illegal to own handguns so long as you have the required permit. So him having handguns in the US of A, it is pretty regular. Pretty regular. Pretty regular.
So wait,
Hold on. It's obvious he was not walking the right road. No, nothing. Listen, there's nothing you said which suggested he wasn't walking the right road. Yeah, he was charged. That's not good. You don't want to be around when charges for aggravated robbery are being handed out. But he was not found guilty. There shouldn't be a presumption of guilt. That's the problem. The problem is the presumption of guilt. He was charged but not convicted. And it's a big problem when you have a presumption of guilt when it should be a presumption of innocence. You should be presuming that he's innocent until proven otherwise. There shouldn't be a presumption of guilt. There should be a presumption of innocence. Okay, but so fine. He's got the warrant on him, so the police have to be vigilant. Fair enough. Okay, where's that one? Let's drop that down and let's have a look at the video. Is there something you wanted to say at this point, Iron Kong? Okay, so there he is with I think you can see what I can see. Okay, let's have a little looky. Oh, so okay, let's take it back a little bit. So right there he's cuffed. Let me make sure that you can see what I can see. Half speed. Okay, so he makes a rip for it. Okay, so he was being held by 2 officers. Now it's just 1. Okay, let us continue. Matter of fact, let me just do a little bit of wizardry, which might keep us safe. Okay, so there's a struggle. There's only 1 police officer on him at that particular time. Okay, he's in the car now. It's half in the car. His feet are in the car. Half his body's in the car. His ass is in the car. Half a torso, less so. Okay, he's all the way in now. Okay, we're watching. Okay, so he's only being held by 1 police officer at this point. Okay, so this is another police officer's hand. Remember, this is in half speed, slow-mo. Okay, now, so the second officer grabs his arm. Okay, let's just continue. So he's being held by 2 police officers. But from my perspective, this officer here, he's got the underhooks. If you're talking wrestling, he's got the underhooks. That's a strong position. This guy here, the one holding his hand, that just stops him from gripping on anything. But this 2 underhooks with this officer, that's strong enough to yank him straight back out of the car. He's got no purchase. He's only got 1 hand free. The other officer has the other hand, so he's been restrained by 2 again. Okay, but this officer here is the strongest position of all. He's got 2 underhooks under his armpits. That's an easy yank out. Got no purchase. He's got 1 hand. The other hand is secured. Okay, so what happens here? This is kind of grainy. There's this hand. What's that gripping onto? Is his jacket? I think his second arm went up. So he's got 2 arms now on the police officer who's dragging him backwards. Okay, so, oh my God. So there is the gun. It's 2 on 1. And that leg is coming out of the car, not going in. Okay, so that leg was in the car. It was in the car. The left leg, both legs were in the car. And as we progress, I've just gone backwards just to establish. Okay, that 1 leg comes out of the car now. Okay, so, and there is the gun. Boom. Right there. There is the gun. It's not a taser. The taser's yellow. The taser's yellow and plastic. This is cold, hard steel. Far heavier than the taser. No two ways about it. And she's kind of endangering her colleagues as well, because they could have got shot too. Okay, I'm not going to take it any further from past experience.
So I have another question. How in the hell are you a 26-year or 23-year veteran of the police force? You can't tell the difference between a handgun and a taser.
Well,
Exactly how does that work?
She can. You can't mistake the two. You can't mistake a light. I wrote a post, nothing related to this. I wrote a post on different non-boxing related channels. On one of these news channels, I wrote a post about this. Hold on, you should be able to, as a police officer, anybody, forget about being as a normal civilian, you should be able to tell a taser between a real handgun blindfolded underwater. You should be able to tell the difference. A normal person, much less a damn police person, much less a damn police. So that is crazy to me. I'm not going to play that any further. If you duck your court hearing, then you may be assumed guilty. That is true. You may be assumed guilty. He was charged with an aggravated robbery. There is a video of him with handguns. His mentality, that shows his mentality. His skin color means nothing to you, to me, to you. I think, though, the American police, does the skin color not mean anything to them? Open arrest warrant after failing to appear in court on charges that he fled from officers and possessed a gun without a permit during an encounter with the Minneapolis police in June. He ran from the police before. And that police officer there, some people call them pigs. I don't think they're pigs, only the ones like this with the gun in the hand. I don't even think a taser was appropriate at that point. I think a taser would be dangerous. That's dangerous behavior. She could have tased one of her colleagues. I don't think, even in this situation, it's inappropriate for a taser, much less a gun. Could have tased one of her colleagues. I don't think this is it. Let's continue down. About the effects his lifestyle. You're lying to yourself, Rafi, about the effects his lifestyle and decisions had on the outcome of his life. Listen, this is not a life or death situation. It would only been a life or death if he'd have produced some kind of weapon. He shouldn't be killed for this. Sorry. Kyle Rittenhouse shot down 3 people with a rifle and he lived. The terrorist who shot those people in the church got a burger. They did. I remember, man. There's some memes and some pictures of these European killers and the African killers, or the killers of African origin. There's different treatment afterwards. Totally different treatment afterwards. And in comes a man like Actual Santos. Chauvin has been found guilty of. Chauvin has been found guilty of all 3 charges.
Right. Yes. Amen to that. Justice, man. Justice. For once,
Once.
I mean, it was unfortunate, but hey, it's like Iron Kong said, and nobody said he was a quiet boy. At the same time, though, that was a human being, right? It's a human being that should have been forwarded the opportunity to maybe get into a bigger paddy wagon or whatnot. If we're talking about, Mr. George Floyd, what he did in the past, or what kind of warrants, that shouldn't even matter, because
irrelevant.
Mr. Floyd wasn't the one on trial. You know what I'm saying? And so you guys, that's why I know, like, a lot of you guys that bring up all this shit, that what this suspect did and this guy did in the past, I already know what you people are like. Okay, so. And before you even say anything, I'm American. I'm Puerto Rican. All right. I'm a mixed race Puerto Rican, but I can pass for a white guy, right? A lot of people think I could pass for white guys. White people don't think I'm white. You know what I'm saying? They think I'm Arab. You know what I mean? They think I'm Jewish. You know what I mean? So yeah, because I live in a mainly white area, okay, in North Florida, and I get stopped, on a regular basis. Okay, do my encounters end up like a normal black guy in America? More often, no, it doesn't here in the South. But when I go back up north, oh yeah, I'm getting slammed up against my car. You know what I mean? I'm getting slammed. I've been a victim of police brutality in New York. Going into my project building in my neighborhood in the South Bronx for quote unquote looking suspicious or looking the role, or oh, we thought you had guns. I'm with my 64-year-old father taking groceries upstairs on a visit from on leave. You know what I'm saying? So miss me with the bullshit about if somebody was a parole, this, that, and the third. Listen, you're not here in America. You're not a black man in America or here on this side of the hemisphere to understand what a black person goes through over here. Okay? Miss me with the bullshit. All right? Plain and simple. Okay? I can respect your opinion and everything like that, but when you bring up, oh, he was on parole, he had this, he did that shit doesn't matter at the moment in time when the police. Sorry, because I'm very passionate about this, Rafi. You know what I'm saying? Because I have black children. Okay, my kids are. My wife is black. You know what I'm saying? I have, all races in my family. Asians. Okay, white folk, Irish. Okay, so I got family in Germany. So miss me with all that. Police brutality is an epidemic, not only in the United States, but all around the world. Look at police states all around the world. You think this is just happening here in the United States, right? But the police brutality is a thing all around the world because guys are not getting held accountable. But today is a change. It's a right step. It's a right step in the direction for a change. Okay, for better training. Okay, teach these guys that hey, you're here to serve and protect the community, not be a terrorist. And to mistake a taser for a weapon. Come on, man.
It's a load
I did 14 years in the Marine Corps, and I could know with my sidearm and a taser. Okay,
come on, man. I mean,
special ground operations and security force.
Man. Common sense. Just introduce me, blindfold me, put a gun down, put a gun on my hip, and put a taser on my hip, and I'm not gonna mistake the gun for the taser.
No,
blindfold me. And I'm still unfamiliar with unfamiliar weapons. So I've never seen the taser before. I've never seen the gun before. But strap them both on my hip, and I bet you I know which one's which. Strap them both on my hip, and I bet you I know which one's which.
It's an epidemic here where it's a person with the complexion for the protection gets the benefit of the doubt. You understand what I'm saying?
You see, the problem
while a black and a brown man. It's automatic.
Yeah.
Come over here, you die. You're gonna get shot. You do something wrong. You speak wrong. You're gonna get your neck squeezed, pressed down. I've been choked out by police, and I've been slammed on my face. Okay. So until you've been in that kind of situation, you don't really have no knowledge to what you're speaking of.
Let's put it this way. Let's give a real life example. Let's give a real life example from the UK. And let's give one real life example from the UK. I mean, I've been fortunate in so much as they pull me over, but when they see me and when they hear me speak, they tend to change their demeanor, switch their demeanor. They say, "Oh, this guy here, educated guy," and the demeanor switch up quick. But the one time I had an encounter with them where they didn't speak to me first, so they only saw me. It was when I was driving home late one night after the club. It was a weekday. It was a Monday night at the Belfry. Any golf enthusiast will know the name, the Belfry. It's a worldwide renowned golf course. Just outside of Birmingham, England. Okay. They used to have an R&B night on a Monday. Legendary night. Monday night for the grown and sexy people. Very smart affair. Like I said, world-renowned golf club in there, their clubhouse. Very selective on the door. You had to be dressed right. You know, it was no just come as you're there. None of that shiznix. It was shirt, trousers, hard shoes, or a suit. So that's the way they had it down there on a Monday night. It was an early finish, like about a midnight or a 1 a.m. I think it was a midnight finish. Just for grown people, grown, sensible, well-dressed people. Okay.
Right.
And
right.
and
Right, but you know,
so
here's
I
the
was
thing,
coming
right?
back. Hold on. Check it out.
Come on,
I was
huh?
coming back. I was coming back from the club on a Monday night, Tuesday morning. It was after midnight, and I was driving, and looked out my corner of my eye. I saw this shiny white vehicle. Made me have to look twice. So shiny. Okay, it's a police vehicle. Fine. I was going over a flyover, driving over a flyover, observing the speed limits, and next thing I know, they're behind me. But I knew there would be because I saw the reaction of the driver. It's like he received an electric shock up his ass, and he saw me at the wheel. So I thought, yeah, he's going to introduce himself soon. So I'm driving over the flyover. They slip in. They slip in behind in my wake. Okay, so now they're behind me. Now it's trying to make me feel uncomfortable because he's driving uncomfortably close. So I thought, okay, let me change lanes. So I indicate to change lanes, and I change lanes legally. He changed lanes too. I thought, cool, there's another lane. So I indicate again and change lane again to the next lane. He changed lanes too. Okay, so I'm coming to a right turn. I don't want to take a right turn. I want to go straight ahead. So I indicate left. Come back in legally, and I go straight. Then I indicate again. I go on the inside lane. He follows me. Inside lane. Cool. Right, now I'll come to a bus lane. So I can slip into this bus lane and stop the car and ask him exactly what it is that he wants. So I do that. I slip into this slip lane. It's a bus lane. And the bus lane comes to an end. So I say, yeah, I stop the car. And I wait for them to approach me and tell me what they want from the Rafi. They don't do nothing. They just sit there. It's like a standoff. It's like a Mexican standoff. So I say, okay, F this. So put the car in reverse. And I start reversing. Then he starts reversing. I said, oh no. I know what he's trying to do. He's gonna, if I don't complete this maneuver, if I don't come to a standstill side by side with this cop car, he's gonna say I tried to ram him. So now he starts, I speed up with my reversing. I'm next to him now. Not in front of him, I'm next to him. And he starts going back at speed. I start going back at even faster because I've got to complete the maneuver. Otherwise, he's gonna say I tried to ram him. Then he remembers at the last second that the bus lane comes to a stop and he's going to ram the curb. And he has to slam on the brakes. I slam on my brakes. Now I'm where I want it to be, right by him, side by side. The man is incandescent with rage. His face is a beetroot red. He is angry. He has been outmaneuvered. He's been outmaneuvered by a civilian. Wind down the window. What do you want, officer? He said, pull over. I didn't like his tone, but I thought, anyway, I'll pull over. So the Rafi pulls over where he was originally. Then he gets out of the car. I get out of the car. He gets out of the car. Next thing you know, he said, get in the back. I didn't like his tone. I could have sparked him for that alone. But I thought, yeah, I'll get in your car after I lock my car. So I walk towards my car. I lock it. I heard a click. Turn the key anti-clockwise once. I heard a click. Next thing I know, I felt a substance on the side of my face, the right-hand side of my face. The creep had creeped up behind the Rafi and gassed the Rafi from behind. OMG. So you see, the Rafi did nothing wrong. Then they came up with some pumped up, jumped up charges. Said I was speeding, said I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing the other thing. So you don't need to have done anything wrong to get assaulted by the police. And Rafi knows, because Rafi was taken to court by these dirty pigs.
Right.
With allegations of things that Rafi never did. However, the jury of, 11 white men and women listened to the police. Then they listened to the Rafi. And they said, not guilty.
That's, that's how it, it doesn't normally play out like that, right, Ralph? Because you lucky, right? Because you're not guilty.
Not guilty.
A lot of times in the past.
Yeah, that's rare. That's rare. Normally, with a normal cat with normal street vocabulary, I said, he's guilty. It's just because the Rafi speaks a little bit different. The Rafi's got a different kind of lingua.
And here's one thing I want to address real quick to the commentator here, Mr. Sefin 4722. He says in all these cases, the perps are resisting arrest, and it escalates the situation the situation. Stop doing it. How hard is it to understand? Here's my problem with that, Stefan, right? Because you have a black people resisting arrest, but 9 times out of 10 times, they will get shot, they will get assaulted, they will get killed. When a white person resists arrest, 9 out of 10 times, they're still alive to serve their sentence.
Still alive.
And come home to their family.
That's a great point. They're
still alive. They're still alive to tell the story of resisting arrest, but they do their time and they come back home. That's the difference.
Time to come back home.
You can't see that. There's statistics because I deal in actual facts. Okay, I deal in actual facts. Okay.
So I have even better question. Who's to say they were resisting arrest in the first place?
Thank you.
Well, we're talking about the Dante, right? Though, so he was resisting, though, wasn't he? But the point this actual Santos made is that, how is it that when a man of color resists, he ends up dead? And we have multiple existence of Europeans resisting. I got a video. I had a video of like a mass brawl. There was these country bumpkins, American country bumpkins. I don't know, out there in wherever the outback. And I was in an encampment, and somebody sent me the video a while ago, and they were having an all-out brawl. They were trading punches with the police. Police had their iron on their hips, and they wouldn't pull it. They wouldn't pull their guns. It was like it was like some kind of militia. These European fellas. It was like they were in some outback militia. They were using certain fighting techniques, which I'm not going to go into. It involved, I don't want to go into it, but certain fighting techniques, militia techniques I recognize as trained to certain militias. They were using those techniques. They were using militia fighting techniques, and the police would not pull their guns. They wouldn't do it. They would not do it. And if that was a black family, listen, the moms would have been dead. The dads would have been dead. Everything, the cat, the dog in the back of the van would have been dead. Everything would have been dead. The police did not pull their weapons. They wouldn't do it. And even if they did, they wouldn't shoot. Even if they did, they wouldn't shoot. I couldn't care less where they fight. It's about money, pure and simple. I don't want to hear anything further from Fury or AJ about human rights, etc. if they end up fighting in Saudi. If they end up fighting, what I said, what did Rafi say? Would America be much better? We're talking about human rights here. Say, don't resist, you'll be okay. But if you resist, you end up dead. We see European resisting over there every damn day. If I'm getting in fist fights with the police.
The
police won't even pull their gun on them.
Yeah,
there was a white woman that stole a police squad car, almost hit 2 officers and killed them, and she was taken alive.
Yeah, anyone who says that anyone who makes a comment about if you don't resist, you'll be okay, is betraying their vast degree of ignorance, because resisting arrest has been an excuse that the police have used in this country for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of
Okay.
years.
The Europeans are I see the Europeans resisting every day. I see Europeans in America. They're punching officers. They're getting fist fights with them, and I've seen videos of the police not wanting to pull their damn guns.
And here's another thing: the Capitol police officer, right, that got killed. Now they saying that he died of natural causes. So they don't want to place the blame on the two white guys that pepper sprayed him and assaulted him.
Wow.
And made him catch a heart attack or whatever what he caught. But he's dead of quote unquote natural causes. So that means that these guys get away with murder, right?
Get away with murder. Get away with murder.
So I have a question to the idiot who made the comment about resisting arrest. My question is, what is your reaction to the events of January 6th? And
what
were those people resisting arrest?
What happened on January 6th? You mean the invasion of the what does they call that?
Yes.
The Capitol riots, exactly.
The Capitol riots. Man, there was those black people that would be machine gunned. There would have been machine gunned.
ISIS invasion of the Capitol.
They would have been machine gunned. There would have been if there was a black people, oh my God, they would have been tossing grenades in the crowd.
Forget about it.
They would have been tossing grenades in the crowd. You think they would have let them storm the building, stand aside like that? The police were running away from them. They were saying the Europeans, we can't shoot them. The police were running away. They run right in the Capitol building. And because they were of European descent, the police were running away. Let's just speak the truth. Let's be honest. If that was black folks, there would have been hand grenades lobbed in that damn thing. Trust me, machine gun down. Worldwide news, black militant group. The Black Panthers tried to storm the Capitol building. Damn, I mean, how many people got shot in there? One? Was it one? That woman got shot?
There would have been tanks. There would have been helicopters. There would have been SWAT teams. There would have been National Guard. There probably would have been military. It probably would have scrambled F-16s. Okay? Real talk.
You know, we have to be honest. We have to keep it 100. We have to keep it 100. The Europeans in America, they made the rules, and the rules serve them. It's really that simple. It's just you just have to look. You just need two eyes to look. The police force, one of their major roles was the slave catchers, oppressors of the darker Americans, oppressors of the darker Americans. The American system is. Yeah, it was designed to keep the black man down. That's pure and simple. You know, we can mess around and we can dance around it. We can skirt around it. But you know, you just have to be aware of the facts. And the facts are that black people in America, black Americans weren't even allowed to read and write. It was an offense to teach a black American to read and write.
A capital offense.
A capital offense. To read and write the Queen's English. And as for property and creating wealth, it was just a couple of days ago. It was just a few days ago and a few lives ago when I brought up, I don't know, Santos, I think you might have been here. I'm not sure. When I brought up the case, of the property of the prime real estate in Florida, beach area being handed back to a black family who bought it 100 years ago, and the Florida state stripped it from the black family. And the property today is worth $75 million. And they took it away from the black family who bought it, the man and the woman who bought it with their hard-earned savings. Presumably they were well-educated and had good jobs that enabled them to buy the property. And not only was it taken from them, but they were also banned from buying any property again in the state of Florida. And that's something I brought up. That's just recent news. Well, a couple of years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I brought up the video and I played the audio. So that's not mythical. That is fact. America was invaded by Europeans, and the laws were made to be oppressive of non-white people. starting off with the destructions of the natives, and then the importation of Africans. And so the rules were made by Europeans for Europeans. And unfortunately, still got some lots of work to do over in America. But I am happy. I'm happy that this guy, this devil, Chauvin, got some. He didn't get the full whack, but he got some of his just desserts. Some. We're not talking about slavery. We're not talking about slavery. We're talking about 2021. We're talking about the remnants.
Can I answer that question?
Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying, man. We're talking about the remnants of what happened before. USA, America invaded by the European. They created the laws. The invaders created the laws, and the laws were in favor of the European to this day, unfortunately. But today, we've got a little bit of a result, and we hope that these people who try to oppress non-white people, we hope that we can just make a little inch forward, just an inch step forward, just a little step forward. I just hope that they'll stop killing African Americans at a disproportionate rate. That's my wish. That is my wish. Hope they start treating African Americans the same way they treat their Europeans counterparts, or people of European origin. You know, if you try to resist the African American, then it's deemed appropriate that you get a death penalty on the spot. And I can't go for that. Yeah. Equal rights, equal treatment. That's what I'm all about. Let's have some equality in the valley. And that is my statement. Equality is what must happen, must be achieved. That's my position. Okay. What's going on here? Okay. So guys, I think it's time for last words. I think it's time for final words. Let's go with the Fight Doctor first. Final words, Fight Doctor. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, can I answer that question about why we're still talking about slavery in 2021? May I answer that question?
We're not talking about slavery in 2021. That's my whole point. What I said was that the laws were made by the European invaders to suit the Europeans.
Well, we already understand that.
Equality clearly has not been achieved. So I ain't talking about slavery. I'm saying that the laws were made by the European invaders to suit the Europeans. And that still appears to be an imbalance in American society. I don't know how clear I could get. The Fight Doctor.
So wait, it's not an imbalance in American society. It's an imbalance in Western civilization. Western civilization reaches all around the world, and the problem is worldwide. So it's not just an American problem. It's an issue within Western civilization, and the Western civilized mind is incapable of comprehending fair and balanced, okay, and justice. These are concepts that are not part of the dynamic, which is Western civilization, and that's the reason why we still have these problems.
Okay.
And real quick, Rafi, I want to
carry on.
Real quick, Rafi, I want to address Mr. Stephen 4722. He's saying a white woman was shot dead at the Capitol and she was unarmed. Did anyone complain about it? No, nobody complained about it. But here's the problem with that statement, right? What was that white woman's purpose there for? She was there to take over the Capitol, to get Nancy Pelosi, possibly murder her or maim her. Okay, she was told multiple times by the Secret Service there at the Capitol, the Capitol security, to back up, do not cross that threshold. She jumped over. She didn't follow orders. She's an Air Force. She's a ex-military member, exactly like me. Okay, did 14 years, exactly like me. Okay, If
Yeah.
somebody said with a gun, hey, don't step over that, don't break that window, don't step over that line, or else you get shot. Guess what? I'm not going to step over that line. She stepped her ass over that line and she got met with in-kind retaliation, and she got shot and killed, unfortunately. And
Yeah,
that was
I saw that video.
nobody but her fault. She
saw
took
that.
her ass over there, drove
Yeah.
2,506 miles over to Washington, D.C. to cause trouble and havoc on a day where it was supposed to be the electoral college is supposed to be ratifying the elections. Okay. So come on, please miss me with that. Please. All right.
Well,
No.
I saw that video. And it was kind of crazy to me because there was the Secret Service or the police, whatever, law enforcement in front of her, to the side. And these guys gun pointed, and he said, whatever he said, don't move. Repeated it. Do not move. Don't come in here or whatever. And she felt so entitled. I mean, if I've got a cop holding a gun pointed at me saying, don't come in or don't proceed, because they kicked out the glass out of a window and they were proceeding to make their way through. The cop's got a gun, he's pointed at you, and you feel so entitled. You feel the laws are so in your favor, that you can just carry on through the window, through the window of the door. You're just going to walk towards a man holding a gun, a policeman holding a gun who's telling you don't come any closer, and you're just going to treat it with total and flagrant disregard. You're going to walk towards a police officer who's got a gun. He's telling you he's going to shoot, but you feel so entitled that you're just going to carry on. You feel that the laws are so much in your favor that you can't be shot. You just can't be. This guy's gun drawn. You can see it. You're going towards it. But you're so entitled. You feel so cocksure that the laws are so much in your favor that you can do that. OMG.
Right, Raph. And another thing with Stefan is saying right here, he says the police in the U.S. have a low threshold for escalation, but it's not as simple as race, because hundreds of whites are also killed by the police each year, but these deaths are ignored by the media. Well, the thing is, Stefan, that most of those cases are suicide by cops. Okay, those guys wanted to die by the police's hands. More often than that, at least 75 to 85% of those cases are suicide by cop. Do your research, because I have. Okay, I'm not just speaking out of my bunghole. Okay, I speak actual facts. That's why my name is Actual Facts on here. Okay.
Puts it perfectly. I almost swore there. She was a nutcase. Same as all that mob. Nothing to prove that she felt into. He's disagreeing.
Yeah, well, you know what? That mob represents the thinking of half this country. And guess what? Those are actual facts. Actual facts. Okay.
She was a nutcase, same as all that mob. Nothing to. Well, I tell you what suggests that they were entitled. That they would just storm past armed police. She goes towards a police officer or armed force, whatever it is, or Secret Service, whatever it is, FBI, CIA, whatever it is. He's got his gun drawn. It's aimed at her. And she still proceeds? OMG. If that ain't entitlement, I don't know what is. Right, it's entitlement, Rafi. What would you say if she was black? If she was black, going towards that, well, that's a suicide mission. If she's black, coming through a window, trespassing on Capitol property, going towards a police officer who they have a higher proclivity to killing non-whites, that's a pure suicide mission. I don't think this white lady was on a suicide mission. I don't think she thought she was going to get shot. I think she thought she could just walk on through with the rest of the Europeans, because there was no non-European face. I didn't see no non-European faces in that crowd doing that, because I think they would have a significant fear that they were going to get shot dead. That mob was just marauding. That European mob marauded through the Capitol building, fearless. They were shocked. When she got shot, did you see the shock on their faces? They were like, I can't believe they shot her. Why would they not shoot her? Why would they not shoot her? I can't believe they didn't shoot the rest of the people in there. That's what I thought would have happened. You storm a Capitol building like that in America? Gun happy America? Trigger happy America? And you're going to survive? I thought that would have been a death penalty. The death wish. Just stepping through them doors, the death wish. That's why I didn't see no black folk in there. Because, the fear of that hot lead from a copper's small whopper. You know what I mean? The Magna, whatever the guns they use, the Glock, whatever. Zig-Zaya, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, man, entitlement. That was entitlement, pure entitlement to my. What's going on? What's going on here? Cookie consent. What if I don't want any cookies? Cookie consent. I gotta go through all this. I gotta what? Allow all? No, I don't want to allow all. What do? Confirm my choices. Did I make a choice? I didn't see making. See, I just been conned by some damn foolishness. Number of people shot to death by the police. Well, it's not percentage though, is it? Is it percentage? Does it show percentages? Does it show percentage? It shows numbers, but there's more white people in America, so there's more white people being shot. But does it show percentages? Because it's percentage of the population. Because if it don't show percentage of the population, then I don't know how that work. I don't know how that work. So it would need to be by percentage. But
quick
what
math.
we do see, quick maths. But what we do see is it looks like white people. It looks like double the amount of white people get shot in comparison to black people. Let me pull that up anyway. Let me pull it up. Let's just stop sharing that. I mean, I hasten to add that this was not my intention to go this route. I mean, I was talking about George Floyd, but you got to go with the people. If the people go in a certain direction, you got to go with them. Okay, so the biggest group we see here is the white folk over this column. And that's double the amount of black people. But it's not percentages. I don't know. Is there more? I mean, black people there's not half. They're about 10, 12%?
So African Americans are 13% of the population.
Okay, 13% of the population. Then you got Hispanics, you got other, and you got unknown. So if they're 13% of the population, they're overrepresentative in the people getting killed here. It seems like half black are getting killed, double the white getting killed.
Listen, I'll tell you where it's really, really lopsided. Look at the prison population.
Well, the easy answer there is that they're going to say that, well, more black people are committing crime. Well, no, that's not how it works. What actually is that because the laws in America were made by Europeans and designed by Europeans to be European friendly, what it is that they're unfriendly to African or other. So, for example, an example of that is with the American cocaine laws. They brought in laws which said if you got so equivalent. If you had a kilo of cocaine, one man's got a kilo of cocaine, and then the next man's got a wrap of crack. They deemed crack to be worse than cocaine. So the guy up in the hills smoking his cocaine, or in the suburbs smoking his cocaine, was lesser punished than the guy in the hood smoking crack. I mean, smoking crack ain't good. I mean, I don't recommend it. I've never tried it
Crack
myself.
and cocaine are the same substance, but if you had cocaine and if you had cocaine, right? Let's say you had a kilo of cocaine and you were caught with a kilo of crack, the sentence for the crack would be higher.
No, not a kilo of crack. No, you could have a kilo of cocaine. The kilo of cocaine was equivalent to a wrap of crack. It was still, you know what I'm saying? It's not kilo one, a kilo other. It was a kilo of one and a small amount of the other, and they would be charged at the same, demonized worse. The rap would be demonized worse, so you get a higher sentence for the lesser substance. So that was clearly laws made by Europeans for Europeans. Let's not mess about. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's not mess about. So that is another example of the laws being made by Europeans for Europeans over there in America. Let's just tell it like it is. Let's not mess around. Let's not mess around. And like I said before, that's not the reason why we were here. But yeah, listen, I just go with the chat. I just go wherever the chat goes. Wherever the chat goes, I go. So let's have a little looky. Entitlement, what would you say? Cite your source, dude. Don't judge a person by the color of the skin, but don't judge. Okay, now we're making sense. Don't judge a person by the color of the skin, but the content of thine character. Let's get through these last few messages. Rafi, you talk about excessive force by the police. They could have just punched her in the head. She had no weapon. It was obvious. You'll make it. I'm going to make it up the rules as I go along. You charge the police. You charge the police. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get shot. I ain't seen no examples of these folks charging the police. George Floyd didn't charge the police. What's his name? Dante Wright didn't charge the police. He tried to run away from them. And I've seen other videos of non-European types running away from the police, and they'll just fill them up with lead anyway. I've seen multiple examples of that. Remember the guy in the park? Remember the cop in the park who was chasing the guy, ran away? He approached him in his Mercedes. He may have had an outstanding warrant for some traffic violation or some nonsense, and the guy just got out of his Merc and started running, the non-European guy. Then the European cop chased him for a bit, thought, nah, F this, pulled out his weapon, filled the guy with lead, and then what? What did he do? Then he moved the evidence. He tampered with some evidence. It's like he put his gun near to the. Oh, that's right. What he did was he said that the guy was fighting him for his gun, trying to get his gun. The non-European guy was trying to get the European cop's gun, and when in that struggle, he had to shoot him. I guess he didn't think it through, because I guess he didn't think, well, how come he shot him in his back? You say he's struggling his gun, but how come he's got these holes in his back? That's one. And two, unfortunate for that officer, there was someone in the park that he didn't know that was happened to be filming. He filmed the whole damn thing. He filmed the cop chase the guy. He filmed the cop approach the guy. He filmed the cop. He filmed the non-European guy get out of his car, start running. He filmed the cop running after him for a little bit, and then he filmed the cop pulling out his sidearm and filling up the guy's back with hot copper and lead. And then he filmed the cop putting his gun right by where the guy laid dying or dead.
You see how your commentators like to detract and deflect?
Yeah,
right.
I see it very clear.
You know? See that?
I see very
and
clear.
That's the problem, man. That's exactly what we talk about, man. That's exactly what we're talking about, man.
Plenty of whites in U.S. prisons, Rafi. What happened to their privilege? Well, damn, there are plenty of whites in U.S. prisons, but not in proportion to the white population. In proportion to the white population, it's only a small amount of white folk in prison in the USA. And how did they get in there? Damn, well, they have to really work hard to get in there. They have to really work hard to get in there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Seen a more readable one. That's a bit of a deep study. We'll look for it. What's this here? The Somalians in Australian youth prisons make up 38% of the inmates, but are only 8% of the general population. They can't.
Yeah, can I answer that, please?
Let me finish the sentence. Can you let me finish the damn sentence?
Yeah.
They can't behave themselves evidently.
Wow.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know nothing about that. I'll take your word for it, Scott. Yeah.
So can I answer that?
Yeah.
So when Europeans came to the New World was full of indigenous people.
Mm.
And not even 500 years later, you can barely find an indigenous person.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well,
know.
I
It's
mean,
terrible.
we can, but they're just all huddled up like my Native American ancestors are huddled up. Well, the ones that do have tribes, because I don't belong to a tribe, right? But I do have Native American ancestry in my veins in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, right? I'm pretty much half Taino, right?
Mm.
And yeah, we live in reservations, right? Most indigenous people in this country were moved to the Black Hills, the reservations where nothing grows. Okay,
Yeah.
nothing grows,
Yeah.
nothing
That's a good
shows.
point. Given the worst,
In the
given the
Rocky
worst land you're
Mountains and stuff,
farming people.
dry desert. That's where Native Americans are now.
Oh gosh. Your
Oh,
agricultural
oh,
people,
but
but
wait,
you get moved
don't
to
let there be
places
some
where
oil, because then they want to drive a pipeline down there and move all the Native Americans.
it's very unfair treatment to anybody who refuses to acknowledge the iniquity of American society. I'm afraid is terribly, terribly deluded, or in denial. It's in denial. I'm implying they are incarcerated for good reason. Yeah, well, if they're incarcerated for good reason, they're incarcerated for good reason. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then we go back to what I was talking about, alluding to earlier on. When I was a kid, you had the Boys Brigade, you had the Scouts. For girls, you had the Brownies, and you had a slew of organizations for kids. After school. So when they're after school, they're not idle. I was in the Army Cadets. So when I came home from school, whatever, you get changed, you eat your dinner, and then you do your homework. Or on an Army Cadet Day, I think that was about 3 times a week. Was it 3 or 2? I can't remember. Then, you come home from school, you get changed, you have your dinner, and then you have a wash, and then you get your Army Cadet uniform on after you shower, and then boom, you're up there for a couple of hours doing some drills, reading, map reading, whatever the exercise was for that particular evening, shooting live ammo on the range. I think 1 weekend per month or per 2 months, whatever it was, every 6 weeks or whatever, we'd go away camping to camp. Go to Wales, climb the Snowdonia, the mountain over there. 10-mile treks. Yeah, when you went to school, there was a uniform. It's not just come as you please. It was a uniform for school. There's a uniform for whatever out of school activity, organization you were with. And I don't know if people get it, but you need that structure. You need that discipline. The kids who had that discipline in their lives were better off. And I think that's what I'm saying. That's what that applies to these kids you're talking about, Scott. They're in a foreign land now. What they need is organizations to join after-school organizations where you need a uniform, you need some discipline to keep you on the straight and narrow, keep you occupied doing positive things rather than just hanging out on the street corner, getting up to mischief. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying to that. I'm not deflecting. I'm asking a fair question. What's the question? You said laws were made to favor Europeans. So it's fair to ask what happened to the privilege of the whites in jail. Well, obviously, there are going to be some whites who end up in jail. I mean, it would be very strange if there were no whites in the jail of a country that I think it's majority white. I think it's majority white. America is majority white.
For the time being.
For the time being, it's majority white. So if there were no whites in jail whatsoever, then that would be most peculiar, would it not? Most peculiar. So I don't know what the question is. What's the question? What happened to the privilege? Well, hold on a second. Not everybody. I mean, not all whites. Not all whites get the same privilege. You do have poor whites also. Whites who are in the poorest categories, and in those cases, those whites, I don't know if they get the full benefits of the privilege of the laws made by Europeans for Europeans, to benefit Europeans.
Yeah, Rafi.
I don't know if they get the full privilege.
Rafi, you need to understand that this person, Stephen 47, is playing dumb. All right.
I'm
And
not going
once
to say that. I don't think he's dumb. I think he's got a
no,
particular.
he's playing dumb. He's playing dumb. I'm not saying he's stupid.
Okay,
He's well
fair
aware of what the facts are, but he wants to play stupid and wants to act as if white people don't have privilege just because one or two of them go to jail, and that's ridiculous. On his face, that's ridiculous.
Is that what he's saying? Is that what you're saying, Marlon? That white
That's
people
that's exactly what he wants. That's exactly what he's trying to imply, that white people do not have privilege in this country, all because one or two of them go to jail, which is ridiculous.
Marlon, are you suggesting that the white privilege in America does not exist? And I'll start off. I'll say that white privilege clearly exists in America.
Oh yeah, it definitely does exist. That's
If
no
you're
ifs, ands,
saying
or buts about it.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it to me, Marla, are you saying that white privilege doesn't exist in America? Is that what you're saying? Because I'm saying it does. Are you saying it doesn't? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And for the record, I don't hold anybody's opinion against them. I welcome the whole host of various different opinions. So don't get it twisted. I welcome the different opinions and points of view. That's why we have discussions. We couldn't have discussions with different points of view. Anthony McKen, white privilege exists worldwide. I'm waiting for Marlon. Anthony, white privilege exists for some. Depends on your social status. Okay. So what I'm saying is that white privilege exists. You're agreeing that white privilege exists. Does it exist less for the white folk on the bottom rung of the ladder economically? Yeah, I think it exists less. I think it exists less for them. But even so, if you put them side by side comparison, I think they still get better treatment than a non-white.
So wait. I think we need to draw a distinction between social status and white privilege. There's a difference. Now, a white person who is poor enjoys a lesser social status than a white person who's middle class, who enjoys a lesser social status than a white person who's high class or rich.
Yeah.
However, they all enjoy white privilege.
Yes.
All of them. Period.
Yes.
Across the board. So don't get it twisted. Let's not pretend as if white privilege doesn't exist. White privilege exists for white people regardless of social status.
Watch the fight and then write a letter to your local politician. Female privilege exists worldwide. Not really. There's some countries where they mutilate the genitals. There's some countries where they mutilate the genitals. I don't call that privilege. I really don't call that privilege. Female circumcision. It's kind of pretty brutal. So I disagree with you there, the bronze plumber. No white privilege in Asia. That's a fair proportion of the world. No white privilege in Asia? Are you having a laugh?
Nonsense.
Are you having a laugh?
Nonsense.
Are you having a laugh, Scott? Come on. There's plenty of white privileges. There's plenty of white privilege. Come on. You get treated very, very well in some of them Asian countries, my friend. Come on.
Ask the Negritos of the Philippines if white privilege doesn't exist.
I was just about to bring that up.
Which country? The Negritos of where?
Of the Philippines.
Philippines.
I don't even know that story, but I can guess what it is. The upper echelon have privilege. The less money and less status you have, the less privilege. Yes, I agree. If you put white privilege in there, just put white. The upper echelon have privilege. The less money and status you have, the less white privilege you have. I would agree with that, Marla. I would agree with that. No white privilege in Asia. No, there's definitely is. There's definitely nonsense, says Scott. That's cool. OMG. Black privilege exists on Netflix worldwide. Well, I just canceled my Netflix, never watched the damn thing. I think I saved myself a £10 per month. That's about £120 a year. I did it. I finally bit the bullet. Right to my MP, I might as well keep it for toilet paper. OMG. The privilege of living off food stamps in a trailer park. There are some people living in food stamps in trailer parks, but there are some of those. But still, compared to a non-white. Why do you keep on coming in at the beginning of my sentence, bro? Man, let me finish the sentence, man. I would still suggest to you that Even the people on the trailer park not really getting much white privilege at all, if any. I still think you pull one over in the car, and that person resists, and the non-white resists. I think there's going to be the outcome is going to tend to be more lethal more often for the non-white. Listen, the bottom line is, whichever way you cook it, whichever way you want to put it, the American laws were made by the European for the European. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. We got a couple of Americans here, and that seems to be the way they feel too.
Well, wait. Can you put the whole trailer park comment back on the screen, please? Because we need to address that. We need to undress
the privilege of living off food stamps in a trailer park.
Okay, now here are the facts, right? Here are the facts with regard to welfare in the United States. Now, the community, the group who consume the most welfare in this country are white people. Yes? However, whenever the topic of welfare reform comes up, right? The welfare reform has to be reformed because the communities in the inner cities, i.e. Black people, are taking advantage of welfare. Never mind the fact that the overwhelming majority of people who A, are on welfare, and B, who abuse welfare are white in this country. So again, white privilege at work, because welfare problem is a problem of the colored people trying to get over in this country. However, the white privilege that these white people who are on welfare that they are entitled to misconstrues the situation and makes it out to be something which it is not. All right, where it is misconstrued into being a problem of the colored people, the Black people who take advantage of welfare, which in reality is not the case at all.
What's the Brum Plumber say here? I'm gonna have to remove that one because it's a crazy statement. I don't understand it, but I will read it. What did it say? What did it say? Rafi stomping his UK privilege on the Kong. What does that mean? Stomping his UK privilege. What is UK privilege? Stomping on the that's crazy talk. I don't know what that means, so I deleted it, but it's kind of crazy. I don't know what that means. Whites are discriminated against in Asia. If you have lived there, you would know. Don't agree with that. Don't agree with that at all. Are they sometimes discriminated against? I'm sure. As a whole, are they? Well, I don't know. Raf, you would also be discriminated in Asia as a Black person. Well, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I've seen videos of some pregnant Black lady in China going to the hospital, and they was blaming Black people for the COVID. So she couldn't go into the hospital. So, yeah, it's messed up. It's messed up. Yeah, that's why I'm in no rush to go to certain places. I know that certain places are better. Some places are better and some places are worse. But I have no desire to go to China. I'm not saying I never would, but you know how that go. Maybe not. I don't rule anything out. Well, I don't rule going there out. But the percentage, let me kill the music. But the percentage of whites who have fallen through the cracks pales into insignificance to the non-whites who can't find a biscuit to eat. You were shutting. I was shutting Kong down. You're talking about the fight doctor. No, I was just kindly asking the fight doctor to come in at the end of my sentence rather than the beginning, or let me finish my sentence. That's all. And I think that's reasonable. What's this here? Anthony, yes, but the content was all whites have privilege and they don't. Did I say all whites have privilege? Although, I never said all whites. I said white privilege. So now, Marley, you're putting words into my mouth. I said white privilege, and I didn't specify the percentage, but if you want me to specify the percentage, I can. White privilege in general, yes, I believe it exists. Did you say you don't believe it exists? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say that white privilege don't exist, or did you imply that white privilege don't exist? I think that you did.
So wait, I have a question.
I haven't finished though, man. Please just let me finish what I'm saying. So I think that you did imply that. I think you did imply that. Now, what am I saying? I say that no, the white folks at the bottom, on the bottom of the ladder, then yeah, so they're at the bottom of the ladder. They have a bottom of the ladder experience. However, I still think you put the two families, the non-white family and the white family of the same economic status side by side. I still think the white family, the European family in America, are still going to be better treated.
So, all right. So,
the bottom of the ladder, so whatever. If you're the bottom of the ladder, you're bottom of the ladder. You could argue this marginal there. Okay, yeah, fight, doctor.
All right. So this comment that apparently all white people don't have privilege. So my question to the person who makes that stupid comment is, if all white people don't have privilege, then how many white people were lynched during Jim Crow? And I suspect that number is close to zero. And I suspect the reason why that number is close to zero is because the white people during Jim Crow enjoyed this thing we call white privilege, which is why they were not being lynched. Okay.
Jim Crow, what percentage of people, non-white people, know what Jim Crow was? I don't know.
Well, of course they don't know what Jim Crow is because they didn't experience it. Okay. They didn't experience Jim Crow because they were afforded white privilege. So they don't know what these things are. Okay.
Yo, European people in the chat, could you write yes or no? Do you know what Jim Crow was? European people in the chat, my question is directed to you because I feel that a lot of European people will not know what Jim Crow was. My European people, my European folks, could you write down in the chat yes or no? Do you know what Jim Crow was? Scott says yes. Keep them coming. My European people in the chat, do you know what? Let me read this. Do you know what Jim Crow? What you see? I don't know. The chat recently has become a little bit lazy. You know, it's a simple question. It's a simple question. Answer it now before you Google it. My European friends in the chat, do you know what Jim Crow was? I have no idea. Thank you. That's two. There's many more. My European people in the chat, without Googling it, do you know what Jim Crow was? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to Google it, and anybody who comes up after me clearly didn't know. What was Jim Crow? What was Jim Crow? Jim Crow laws. Okay, so let's go back into the chat, and anybody who hasn't responded clearly didn't know. Okay. Lynchings are not right. Okay, so the vast majority, only a fraction. Did anybody say yeah? Not one European in the chat knew what Jim Crow was. Okay, so let me go into this just a little bit. Let's get rid of that. Where's that thing I just opened? There it is. And let's bring this over here like so. And let's share. Boom, boom. What was Jim Crow? Let's share that. What was Jim Crow? Jim Crow Museum, Jim Crow laws definition, fact, timeline. Okay, is this going to be the simplest one? Jim Crow law, history, facts, Jim Crow. Any of the laws that enforced racial segregation in the state and local legalized racial segregation. Which one am I going to? Let's go for this one. Oh, okay. Right. So, oh hell, let's get out of there.
So ask if Ask the listening audience if any of them know what a sundown town is.
Well, if they don't know what Jim Crow is, then how the hell are they going to know what a sundown town is? The answer is no. I'll answer on their behalf.
Well, so we're giving them an education on exactly what white privilege is, okay, and how, and the reason why they are unaware of how they benefited from white privilege, okay, because these are things that they didn't have to deal with because of their white privilege.
Carry on. Is there anything else you want to say? Was that?
No, I just want, so for the person who made the stupid comment about whites not enjoying white privilege, or all whites not enjoying white privilege, go look up what is a sundown town, and then you will see clearly how you benefit from white privilege.
Okay. High Court bans segregation in public schools. When you hear the phrase Jim Crow, what comes to mind? What does... that's rubbish. How did Jim Crow... No, what? Who was Jim Crow's younger brother? Jim Crow Law's American Experience. What the hell is this? Get out of here. I just want a simple article, man. I just want to be harassed with this, that, the other. Jim Crow Laws. Can you see this? Can you see this? Let me bring this up. Why am I going into this? Because it's I'm responding to the chat, and we're getting into something here. I'm just going with the chat, man. Okay, so Jim Crow laws. The segregation and disenfranchisement laws known as Jim Crow represented a formal codified system of racial apartheid that dominated the American South for 3/4 of a century, 75 years, for those who don't know, beginning in the 1890s. Okay, so the laws affected almost every aspect of daily life, mandating segregation of schools, parks, libraries, drinking fountains, restrooms, buses, trains, and restaurants. White-only and colored signs were constant reminders of the enforced racial order. So you see right there. So right about there, what we have is, I'll let you in a second, actual Santos. What we have right there is further evidence that America was built on laws made by the European, favoring the European. Actual facts, Santos.
No, it's just that last bit, those last 3 words, the enforced racial order. You understand that, you commentators in there? The enforced racial order of race that is still in power in this country.
Damn.
Okay?
Damn. So for anyone who was reluctant to accept that the American laws were made by the European for the European, I think that's just like I don't know. That's like a barrel of what do you call it? A crate full of grenades. That's some big caliber ammunition. That's some what do you call them? Ground to air missiles. That's everything right there. The laws affected almost every aspect of daily life, mandating segregation of school, parks, libraries, drinking fountains. And let me just add, although I don't need to add, surely you understand that the better facilities were set aside for the Europeans by the Europeans. Okay, so like I said, the Europeans in the chat didn't know what it was, and there speaks to the lack of education on these topics. They're just swept under the carpet for many folks, whereas other folks, they look at it and they analyze it and evaluate it and realize that America's laws were made by Europeans for Europeans. Colored waiting room, private property, no parking, no drive-through, and no turning around. Bingo tonight. Good housekeeping. True story. Hitler's love life revealed. What we got here? What we got here? Yeah. So what is this? Coach company. Colored waiting room. Colored waiting room.
Yeah. So can I further address?
Carry on.
Can I further address the person who made the comment about whites in jail not enjoying white privilege? And I think what that person needs to understand is that white people do not enjoy white people against other white people. Don't work that way. White people enjoy white privilege over non-whites. So when a white person goes to jail, they probably committed a crime against another white person. Okay? So when it comes to white people, they don't enjoy white privilege over each other because they're all white. But they enjoy white privilege over non-whites.
Okay. That's concise. That was concise. Well, here we go. The mention. What's going on here? I am from the UK. I don't know what's going on. I just came in, so I missed everything. Lisa Bailey's missed everything. OMG. What's this here? Was it his? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the chat. Of course, the US was built on laws to favor the white majority. That's obvious, but not all whites benefit from it. The elites do. Well, I think the Fight Doctor put it well there. It's not about white privilege. Isn't about to be measured between white people, like in this high strata to low strata. Yeah, no, it's to be measured against other people in the similar stratas, perhaps. So white people, European Americans, judged by other people in their social strata, have privilege over those people in the same social strata. So if you're at the bottom rung of the ladder, the European Americans enjoy status over, in terms of white privilege, over the people in the same stratus as they. So it's not white privilege isn't measured between white people, it's measured between non-white people in the same strata as they.
And that's why it's called white privilege, because white people enjoy white privilege over non-whites.
Yes.
1 + 1 = 2. I mean, it's simple arithmetic here, okay? I mean, so you go back to Jim Crow, you look at the signs, it says whites colored, right? Okay, so that just tells you the white people enjoy the white privilege, the non-whites don't enjoy the white privilege.
Yes.
It's simple arithmetic, okay? I don't understand why this person seems to think that all white people don't enjoy white privilege when the very term suggests that all white people enjoy white privilege. It's called white privilege.
Two different
because it is a privilege extended to all white people.
Two different degrees, depending on your strata. Rafi, that's called a straw man argument. What's called a straw man argument? You said police were created to serve the Europeans. Yes, I did. I said the police were and are in place to protect the law. To protect the law, which was created to protect laws which were created by Europeans to favor Europeans. Yes. Unfortunately, laws were wrong in historical days. Well, wrong in historical days. Well, they're wrong in recent days. I mean, I gave you an example of the ounce of coke being the equivalent to 1 rap of rock. The laws are very clever, so they know who was taking the coke. They know what economic group were taking the coke, the more expensive coke, and they were easy on those laws. However, with the crack, they were heavy. That's why you get so many percentage of people in American prisons who are non-white for simple weed possession. Now, even though weed is being legalized in many states, those people who are locked up for simple weed possession, they are still locked up. As far as the coke and the crack thing, well, Europeans are buying the coke, and those laws are quite lenient in comparison to the crack buyers. I don't support neither coke nor crack, but the laws were unequal. There was iniquity in those laws. And then you had, so that's why you had lots of people that's why that's lots of non-white people incarcerated for non-violent crimes. Private prisons, revenue, keep on locking up non-white people for non-violent crimes, a little bit of simple weed possession, and yeah, you're in jail. It's utterly ridiculous. Like I said, American law made by Europeans for Europeans.
Yeah, can I add something?
Carry on.
So let's look at the opioid crisis here in America. Right now, some people would think that it's new, but it's not. So opioids have been around in this country since the 1800s. Okay. Now the problem is that opioids were very popular in the black community back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And of course, in the 80s, we had the war on or 80s or 90s, whenever it was, 80s, we had the war on drugs, all right, which criminalized simple possession of some of these drugs, crack, heroin, what have you. Simple possession. You weren't a dealer. You just were a user, all right? But you were treated as a criminal for simply possessing these substances. Now, fast forward to 2021, and now you see the opioid crisis has moved out of the black community and is now affecting the white community. And hence, the attitude towards these substances has changed. Whereas before, it was a war on crime, a war on drugs, where we criminalized the drug user. Now we look at drug abuse as being not a crime, but a sickness.
That's right. Because nobody gave a crap when it was affecting the black and brown community back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s with the heroin. But now all of a sudden it's a national crisis because it affects middle America. All right. Now it's affecting middle America. Now it's affecting the money. Right. Because that's where the money is.
And it's the same heroin. It's the same heroin we had back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's the same opium. That hasn't changed. OK, but back in those days, if you got caught, if you were a user. I watched a movie the other day about Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, she used heroin, and she was not a dealer. She was simply a user, but they criminalized her simply because she had an addiction. She was sick, but in their mind, she was a criminal, right? But fast forward to 2021.
Oh, the Fight Doctor's internet has let him down yet again. What were you saying, actual Santos? Okay.
But the only thing that has changed from then and now is that then it was the heroin was in the black community and it was criminalized. Now that it has gone to the white community, it's no longer looked as being a criminal to use heroin. It's now looked at as a sickness, and these people are treated as being sick.
Yeah, that's another example of inequality. That's another example of inequality.
That's an example of white privilege. That's what that is. Okay, clear as day. That's an example of white privilege.
They've chosen to recategorize the situation now. If you're a heroin user or whatever, one of those, opioid user, oh, you're a victim now. You're a victim of the medical groups now. We must try and see how we can get over this crisis. Well, oh, you're a criminal. We need to jail you. The Billie Holiday example was a great one. All in jail for weed should be freed. Of course, a nonviolent crime. It's nonviolent. Okay, we got a couple here. I recently had a tacit admission. So look at the word you use, Scott. Admission. Okay, admission. Okay, we're going to come back to that. I recently had a tacit admission from a respected Black American YouTuber that racism was rife in boxing in America, and the overwhelming majority of that racism was from Black people. Okay, be more specific, because it's just too broad. I don't know what can I do with that. You'd have to give kind of examples or something like that. But if you give me something I can respond to, I can respond to it. Tacit admission. First of all, an admission means it's true. I don't know if it's true. respected Black American YouTuber, that racism was rife in boxing. Yeah, okay. In America, and that the overwhelming majority of the racism was from Black people. Okay, well, just give me something to work with there. Give me an example that I can talk about. Give me an example that I can talk about.
Yeah, and so he should go back and ask that same person, wherever these Black people who are practicing racism, he should go and ask, well, where did they learn it from? Where did these Black people, where did they learn to be racist? How did they learn to be racist? Those are the questions that he needs to be asking. Okay, like how did that situation come about?
I have observed in recent years how Eastern Europeans who have come to England in recent years have run that game of being discriminated, but they are on the white code against non-whites. Interesting. Black people cannot be racist because they are powerless and at the bottom rung of the ladder. They have no power over anyone to abuse it. Racism and a Black person is a misnomer, says Anthony McKen. They were heavy. Marla says they were heavy. I think he's talking about the government. They were heavy on crack so that they could use it to target the Bloods and the Crips. They were shipping it in. They were heavy on crack. They were shipping it in. Bush was shipping in the crack. How do you mean heavy on crack? That you say they were punishing the crack? They were shipping it in. So on the one hand, you're saying they were heavy on crack, but they were shipping it in. So if you're shipping something in, if you're shipping something in and then being heavy on it, then what does that make you? That makes you a sneaky, slimy, reptilian, lower than low snake. You're importing something and then you're being heavy on it.
You know what? See, I'm glad you brought that up because see, this country loves to reward the hypocrite. Okay? Wow. This country loves to reward the hypocrite. Listen, you look at the Declaration of Independence, all right? The founding fathers. The Declaration of Independence was signed by people who own slaves. So think about that for a second, right? You're creating this American experiment where people are supposed to be right. You're spearheading this American experiment where people are supposed to be free, but you own slaves. So how exactly does that work? And even in 2021, this country refuses to come to terms with the hypocrisy of its founding fathers, the blatant and rank hypocrisy of its founding fathers.
Any boxing fan that favors a Black fighter over another ethnicity is racist, pure and simple. Okay. What if it's a boxing fan who favors a white fighter over another ethnicity? What about that? Yes, they didn't care because the people of, I don't know what you're responding to there. If the only reason is ethnicity, then I totally agree. I strongly suspect Anthony McKen. What the hell? Favoring a boxer over another is bias or prejudice. Racism is a system structure. If a society has a healthy upper class and middle class and a dysfunctional lower class can be carried. If the middle class and the upper class falls apart, the whole society will collapse. I don't know what that's in relation to. It's interesting. I agree, Raphael. You're most welcome, Lisa. Anthony, racism is more than a system structure. People use that to excuse their racism. Really? Huh. People use that. Really? I've never heard that excuse before. That's interesting. But I think we come to the end of the show. And thanks for sticking with me. The fight doctor, the actual Santos. Thanks. I haven't heard from Santos there. You're still with us. Okay. So now it's really, and thank you to,
here.
Hold on, Loma. But most of all, thank you to the contributors, whether I agree with you or disagree with you. This is one of the beauties of the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. I feel privileged to have people who are not afraid to speak their minds. They're not afraid to speak their minds. So regardless of whether I agree with you, disagree with you, partially agree with you, partially disagree with you, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because I appreciate the diversity of opinions over here at the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. So everybody who made a post, expressed an opinion, whether I agree with you, disagree with you, partially agree, partially disagree, it's all good because over here we have something that a lot of people don't have. We have the richness of diversity. Diverse people, diverse opinions, just diverse. So I feel rich to be blessed with that quality. Okay, so guys, real this time. It's the final words. Okay, the Fight Doctor, your final word. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for sticking through it. Thanks for being around for the conversation. And your final words, please.
Thanks for having me. And I just want to send a shout out to the Actual Facts. Sir, it was a pleasure chopping it up with you. And I'm looking forward to the next go round.
100%. 100%. And that was the Fight Doctor. Much appreciation goes out to the Fight Doctor. And then there were two Actual Facts and Santos. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for contributing to the conversation.
Yes, thank you for having me, Raphael. It is always a pleasure coming here. And for all you who see Loma Cristo face, the original Cristo or the Joshua or Jesus was not of a European looking face. No, he was a black Jew.
Uh-oh.
Yes. But that is another discussion. Yes.
For another day.
Because we all know that Leonardo da Vinci painted his boyfriend, Caesar Borgia, as the face of Jesus.
More facts being spit over here on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, and that was the Actual Facts on Santos. Much appreciation goes out to him. And yeah, thanks for jumping on Actual Facts and Santos. Okay, we're doing it again. I hope people can take some deep breaths. Hey, we have to do it over here, the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. You know, this is where it goes down. This is where people share their opinions, man. This is where people share their opinions, man. Seriously, Rafi, I point out something so obvious. Yes, the government was bringing in the drugs, and they made the penalties high for crack because that's what the Bloods and the Crips were selling. Yeah, the Bloods and the... Okay, fair enough. Okay, but you know, you didn't acknowledge that the government were bringing in the drugs, and that was an essential part to keep the thing fully authentic. You know what I'm saying? You just say, well, hey, they was targeting the Bloods and the Crips. Well, no, you got to say the government were bringing in the drugs unbeknownst to the American public and poisoning the inner cities, not just California, but all over urban populace, all over the USA. And you'll remember that this is the same government who had people injected with syphilis in Tuskegee, the Tuskegee experiment, where they went to rural areas of black people and they told them they were giving them some anti-vaccines or vaccines or whatever against things, and they were actually injecting them with syphilis so they could study it. Yeah, that's the wickedness. If somebody's questioned the term wickedness, that is the wickedness of the American government. Laws made by Europeans for Europeans. I had no problem going down to Tuskegee and poisoning, was it hundreds or thousands of black Americans down there in the deep, rural, deep South, the Tuskegee experiment. What else is that? They made penalties high for crack because that was, so they took down thousands, hundreds of thousands. Was it hundreds of thousands? Hundreds of thousands that were left addicted by these drugs that the American governments were bringing in. So these hundreds of thousands of people, they were collateral damage. That's what you're saying. They were collateral damage. They're expendable. They're expendables. No, that don't wash. That don't wash. You don't use civilians to take down a group or groups which still exist 30, 40 years later. You just book them. How would it be if they went into a European environment and said, okay, we're gonna poison your environment with the crack and the coke because we want to take out a couple of these gangs or one of these gangs? No, it wouldn't be acceptable. Wouldn't be acceptable, would it? He wouldn't poison hundreds and thousands of people. Nah. Oh, nah. It's not an excuse, boy. It's a fact. I stand by. OMG. OMG. I think we've kept it reasonably nice and polite under the circumstances. I mean, hey, we've done this. We've been in this thing for 3 hours, and I think we've kept it reasonably nice and polite, just the way the Rafi likes it. The targeted black big gangs. Is that to understand? The government saw it as an opportunity. Nah, you see, and then again, come on now. Listen, you're saying the government were acting for the benefit of the community. No, they brought the crack in. They brought the crack in because they wanted to raise money for their unofficial work, their illegal activities in South America. So it wasn't about being trying to help the hood. No, they used the hood to raise millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, thousands. Did it go into billions? It could go into billions. They used the money to get hundreds of millions, if not billions, from the hood, out of the hood, to fund their illegal activities in South America. Can somebody say the Sandinistas? Oh no, they weren't trying to help out the clean up the hood. They were selling hundreds of millions of pounds of coke to, what's his name? Rick Ross. Not the rapper, the real Rick Ross. Not the fake Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross. Rick Ross wasn't in no Bloods or Crips or whatever. The American government under George Bush brought in drugs into the hood, into the inner cities to raise money for their activities in South America. And also, they're corrupt. So you know that they're getting millions themselves. The organizers, the corrupt officials. Yeah. The what's his name? The guy from Arkansas. The saxophone player. Bill Clinton made hundreds of millions by turning a blind eye or actually helping them when they changed their landing site to Little Rock, Arkansas, landing strip over there, bringing in hundreds of millions worth of drugs every year. Must have run into the billions. Yeah. Okay, where are we? Where are we? No, I'm not saying anyone is expendable. Stop putting words in my mouth. You just repeated what I said to you. Well, clearly they're expendable. If the American government are bringing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of drugs in, it wasn't to get out no Bloods and Crips. It was to get money to fund their activities in South America. Plus, they're in the money-making business too, so they take in hundreds of millions. The bent officials, through fake organizations, through fake charities. Look at the Clintons. Look how much millions they scammed out of Haiti through their so-called charitable organization. So it wasn't to help nobody. You're not saying those people are expendable, but clearly the American government or the corrupt officials, George Bush, ex-leader of the CIA, being involved in the so-called black ops for decades. Black ops, unauthorized activity, selling drugs, drug seller. Yeah, Marley, you against criminals, so you must be against George Bush then, and Bill Clinton. If you're looking for drug dealers, then you have to look beyond the Bloods and the Crips. Look to the big boys. Look to the Bushes. Look to the Clintons. If we're talking about drug dealers, then let's go to the top. Let's take it to the top. Take it to the T.O.P. How about the famous black dealer? How about the famous black dealer who flooded the black neighborhoods with heroin? He's looked up to. They made a movie about him. He's looked up to. Well, you look up to Al Pacino. You look up to, what's that guy's name? What's that cat's name? What was the role of the Al Pacino guy in Scarface? You look up to Scarface, don't you? You look up to Scarface? What's Casino? Casino. You watch Casino? You watch Casino, Marla? You looked up to that, didn't you? Didn't you? You look up to the American Mafia, Italian Mafia, didn't you? Did you? Didn't you? I don't know. It's a question. So who are we talking about? There's a few of them, wasn't there? There's a few of them who flooded neighborhoods. You're talking about Frank Lucas, the guy who worked with certain corrupt officials in the American army to get his stuff flown out in coffins. They're talking about Frank Lucas. Yeah, Frank Lucas. How about the famous black who flooded the black neighborhoods with hurricane? He's looked up to. Well, he's looked up to a certain extent, isn't he? Until you look behind, until you look about what actually happens, what actually is done, what it entails, what actually becoming one of those big guys entails. Flooding your own neighborhoods or any neighborhood with destructive substances that were not really meant for man. They're not really meant for man. Or if they were meant, or they can be used for medicinal purposes, but not used how we see people out on the street using it, becoming all wrapped up, all messed up, becoming junkies. That ain't good. Keep putting your words in my mouth, Marla. That's what I said to you. You're just recycling my bars, bro. You're recycling my bars. If you want to make any particular instance, then for sure, of course, I'll be happy to address it. But it's the American government who are the drug importers, my friend. And yeah. Where we are now? Where are we now? American Gangster is the movie. They know the Blackstreet gangs were selling crack, so adjusted the penalties so they could hit. No. Listen, we're not talking about gang. We're not talking about gang people. We're talking about users. We're talking about users getting stretches. Laws being adjusted for users. Yeah. So the non-white user with the rock in his pocket was getting more time than the European in the suburb with the coke in his pocket. Tell you what, I'm well aware of it. You clowns are just too stupid to process what I'm saying. OMG. I think I've fully processed what you're saying, Marla, and it really, sorry, mate, it don't make sense. You're saying that they tried to get the Bloods and the Crips. Nah, the penalties were on the users, yeah, and that's why the American prisoners. You say why so many black folk in American prisons? Yeah, a lot of them are nonviolent weed possession. Free, let the weed possessors, nonviolent weed possession people out, and you will free up a significant percentage of jail cells, jail beds. Get some violent offenders in there. The Burmese military government are the biggest drug dealers in the world. We need the Americans to invade that failed narco state. What's the Americans going to do? They're just going to start selling. What? What have the Americans? What happened to America? Oh my God! Here we go. This is a good one. What happened to heroin production when the Americans took over Afghanistan? What happened? The production levels blew totally out of proportion to what they were before. Heroin production. Let's just Google it anyway. Let's just Google that. Heroin production in Afghanistan. Heroin production in Afghanistan under the Americans. How the U.S. military opium war in Afghan was lost. OMG. Okay, so I've got another window open now. How many windows do I have open? OMG, it is crazy. Okay, so let's stop sharing that. I'm trying to get out of here. American. Okay, so Scott, you say you need the Americans to come in. You say you need the Americans to come in to clean the thing up. Okay, how the U.S. military's opium war in Afghanistan was lost. Okay, I'm going to try and make this look how pretty they're looking. Look at the damage it causes. Look how pretty the puppies look. And look at the damage it causes. Oh my gosh. The US has spent 1.5 million pounds per day since 2001 fighting the opium war in Afghanistan. So why is business still booming? Well, that's bull crap. This was April 2019, by the way. Okay. Well, that's bull crap because they say what? Say, why is business still booming? No. Business is booming like it's never done before. Forget about still. That's minimizing. Night vision cameras. I just want the numbers, man. I just want the numbers. Don't forget about the Raptors. Let's give me the numbers. Yeah, laboratory 200 million. Okay, so the objective was to take out the heroin laboratories at the heart of the Taliban's 200 million a year opium trade, and it was to involve some 200 similar strikes. But according to new research from London School of Economics, Operation Iron Tempest was not what it seemed. The study found that despite excellent intelligence and the multi-million dollar campaign was having negligible effect on the Taliban and drug trafficking networks. Well, that's a bull crap as well, because the production increased exponentially. Massive increase. But I'm looking for the numbers, and all I'm seeing is bull crap here. Wow, that thing kills, man. Kills so many people. Record output. Okay, now they're ready to talk numbers. Maybe. Record output. By 2017, the evidence of Allied failure to contain opium production had become impossible to ignore. 4 days before Iron Tempest began in 2017, the UN Office of Drugs had announced that poppy cultivation had risen by more than 120,000 hectares in one single season. I repeat, 4 days before Iron Tempest began, Operation Iron Tempest began in November 2017, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime had announced that poppy cultivation had risen more than 120,000 hectares in a single season. That's under the Americans, when the Americans went there. When the US and British forces invaded Afghanistan in October 2001, poppies were grown on around 74,000 hectares. That's 285 square miles. The new figures, as we're going back to 2019, remember, the new figures showed production had increased more than fourfold in 15 years. Now opium was being grown on 328,000 hectares. Remember, before the invasion, it was 74,000 hectares. That's 285 square miles. After 15 years with American and UK control, the opium was now being grown on 328,000 hectares. So it's not 295 square miles no more. It's 1,266,000 square miles. Whew. Okay, so that's before here and after here. So, Scott, you saying the Americans need to go in to clean things up, bro? That would just throw it up. The production would reach mammoth levels unseen before. Okay. You ought to. And T. White responds, you are too stupid to process the facts. OMG. Please, no insults. No insults. Just understand the facts. Just understand the facts. Okay. Mafia, I don't support any mafia. Yep. Frank Lucas. Cal L up in the building. Donnie Brasco, the best gangster movie ever based on a true. I don't know. I haven't seen all the gangster movies. Couldn't tell you, my friend. Couldn't tell you. I've never watched it, so I don't know if I'd even like it. The best is a matter of taste. What's best to you might be crapola to another man or not. So it's hard to say something's the best. You can say you enjoyed it the best. That's how I'd phrase it. That's how I'd term it. Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? How Afghan opium farming has grown. Okay, just gonna get through the last. Oh man, better bring this down. Better stop sharing that. And stop the music. Should I stop the music? Okay, let it carry on. What is this? Have we come to the end yet? What about the good work? What about the good work the U.S. did in Thailand? Almost zero opium production since Reagan's initiative. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to tell me about that. I don't know nothing about that. Plenty of Bloods and Crips members went to prison on drugs charges. It enables the law to get them put away for decades. Yeah, you didn't have to kill. There didn't have to be hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians being caught up in that shiznix for a handful of gang members. 10? Was it 10? Was it 10 gang members that got off the street? Was it 20? Was it 30? Was it 40? Was it 1,000? Nah. Yeah, 100,000 victims of that stuff that you're importing to catch 10 Crips and 10 Bloods, or 20 Crips and 20 Bloods, or 50 Crips and 50 Bloods. No, you don't use people. You don't use civilians. You don't use civilians as collateral damage. No. Okay, and Scott 70 becomes a sponsor of the show. Much appreciation to you, Scott 70. Much appreciation to you. What's this? I forgot to read the rest of the sentence. It enables the law. Yeah, I read that bit. Decades. Yeah, you don't use civilians as collateral damage for that. No way. You catch them on other shizzle, like Al Capone. You didn't have to wipe out swathes of the Italian community to catch Al Capone. Now you did it on taxes. Yeah, let them do it on taxes. Let them catch them like they caught Al Capone. Yeah, not use civilians as collateral damage. That's my position on that. Okay. Poppies are used to fund the insurgents. The Americans can't stop it because if they destroy the poppies, the farmers growing it will lose their income and take up arms. That's an excuse. Molly, you seem to have an excuse for everything, my friend. Now you're excusing the Americans. They're saying the Americans can't stop the poppy growth rather than acknowledge the fact that the Americans are involved in the sale of the poppies and the profits of the poppies. So once again, to me, you got that ass backwards. You look at it from a totally different perspective to me, but that's okay because there's different forms of opinion, and that's okay. But yeah, so to my response to that is that you're saying the Americans can't stop it. Hey, the Americans are benefiting, profiting from it. Boom, boom, boom. And that was the last comment in the comment section. I made it to the end. Rafi's almost breathless. It's late over here. And we've got to get on home. Okay, much appreciation to everybody. And let's not forget the reason we were here. But I think it's a stimulating conversation. I think people watching this, whoa, it's heavy. It is heavy. But lots of facts got spat. Lots of facts got spat. OMG. Awesome conversation. Thank you to everybody who jumped on the chat in the panel. Iron Kong, Actual Facts and Santos, Fight Doctor. Was that everybody? Oh, damn. And the H Mo Nay. In the black community. He told me earlier drugs were brought in intentionally to keep the black community strung out, or to get them strung out and weak. Yeah, and messed up. For sure. Interesting chat, if a little deep. Big ups to everyone in the chat. Well, I tell you what, mate, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. I got a damn good idea. I got a full idea. I think I got a better idea than you, Marla, because you're always blaming the victims, whereas I look for the cause, the original cause. So, yeah. Interesting chat. It's a little deep. But it's all good, though. It's all good. I do appreciate people who take time out of their day to contribute to the discussion. And it is thoroughly appreciated. This corrupted system of this corrupted in America. Okay. Let's have a look. System. SYSTE. Damn. M. Where'd the N come from? Okay. Okay. So much thanks to everybody. See you on the other side. It has been highly stimulating discourse, which is something I thoroughly appreciate. So until the next time. Let's not forget the real reason. Let's not forget the reason we came here in the first place. And let me share this with you as I bid you a fond good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. And there it is. David Chauvin, is that his name? Derek Chauvin, found guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Okay, so there we have it. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated on news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. I am out. Blessed.